Padvam Langha Yatkripat Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. I'm very happy and grateful to be with all of you here for this Bhakti Vaibhav teaching. Last chapter of the sixth canto, last three chapters. And this section, or this unit, is the last unit of the Bhakti Vaibhav curriculum. Thanks to Samarpan Goprabhu's historical batch. The kind of speakers your batch got, no other batch has got ever. Sarvam Prabhu came, na? Sarvam Prabhu and Radhika Vallabh Prabhu, Hari Leela Prabhu, Bhakti Damodar Maharaj. Twice I think he came. Twice he came. So, oh, he came for Bhakti Vedanta. Oh, that one. Bhakti? Bhakti Padma Saurabh Pacharaka. Long name. It's a very historical batch, and as far as my understanding goes, it has gone in time, except for Janmashtami month or something like that. Classes have happened, and I hope you are submitting the assignments and things are going well. I don't know about that. But it's wonderful that the 6 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam we have studied together. As I was telling today, Ajay Gaurav Prabhu, that one can study alone, but when one studies with devotees, there's a different relish in that. After Mahaprabhu tells Srila Sanatana Goswami the 64 items of devotional service, then he talks about 5 items. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavad Shravan, Mathuravasa Shri Murtira, Shraddhaya Seva. After that, he talks about each of these items and he highlights the qualification for these items or how to actually do them. मैंने कर दिया इंटरनेट पे, मतलब उस पे कर दिया. तो मैंने उसको सैंक्शन कर दिया. After that, he discusses about each of these items, what it means and what are the qualification and how it is to be done. So for Bhagavatam Shravana, he says, there it comes that Swajatiya Snikto Svatavara Bhagavat Artha. He says that one should relish the meaning of Bhagavatam and the association of like-minded devotees who are very, affectionate to him and who are slightly superior to him. That's how he says. Bhagavat Artha. So like that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu qualifies that. So we're also trying to do the same here, trying to study Srimad Bhagavatam along with the purport given by Srila Prabhupada and discussing whatever little we have heard and read here and there. I'm not so fully well prepared because of the last few weeks of very tight schedule. But somehow by Krishna's grace, I studied this section a couple of times, also discussed this section with devotees a couple of times. So hopefully in your association you'll be able to learn something. So the context is, this chapter is named as Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. Cursing in Bhagavatam is very common. It begins with a curse, it concludes with a curse. It begins with Parikshit Maharaj receiving the curse from Shringi, and more or less it concludes with the sages cursing Yadu dynasty. So, and in between there are many curses. So there are curses and there are reasons for those curses. We should always have that feeling that nobody in this world is mad. So only mad people do things without reasoning. Mad people do something and they don't know why they're doing it. So if a person is not mad and is doing something, that means he will always have a reason for why he is doing that. The difference is we may agree with his reason, we may not agree with his reason. We may find it valid, we may not find it valid. But for him, that's the reason. And that's very important reason. Even terrorists, like sometimes there are human bombs, sometimes there are people commit suicide, bombers, or different kind of things. So even they have a reason, and very important reason from their perspective. So anybody who curses, they definitely have some reason to curse. And now the question is, when we are at the receiving end, then how do we receive it? How do we respond to it? Do we react to it or we respond to it? Reaction means that a normal reflex reaction. Like something is biting here, immediately we will not see whether it's a living entity, whether I should kill it or not kill it, or I should take it out and keep it. If something is biting us, immediately we'll like reaction. But actually, spiritual life teaches us to become responsive rather than being reactive. So reaction means that there is a stimuli, and stimuli only, the stimulus, and there is a reaction immediately. There's nothing in between. Stimulate and reaction. But response means that there's a stimulus, and in between there's a thought process. There's a value system which comes in picture, which calculates how do I respond to that. Who is doing that? Why is he doing that? What is being done? What is the purpose behind it? And then one calculatively responds to that. So that is response. So both kind of characters are there. In Bhagavatam, we find people who are cursed and they counter curse. And majoritarily we find that people are cursed, but they respond to it by going deeper and taking it as Lord's plan for their spiritual well-being. So here is an extraordinarily brilliant example of this responsive behavior. There's some confusion, there is some misunderstanding between Mother Parvati and Chitraketu Maharaj. And without clarifying, immediately there is reaction. So Mother Parvati is reacting and Chitraketu Maharaj is responding to what is coming to them. And what is coming to them from their perspective, it's a very heavy thing or very, we can say very, very painful thing or striking thing coming to them. So Chitraketu Maharaj, the long story, first of all, the story of Vritrasur comes actually. Indra offends Brihaspati and then further he kills his guru. And then he goes to Dadichi Muni and then Vritrasur is killed. And when Vritrasur offers those prayers, then Parikshit Maharaj is stunned. He's thinking, what's this? A demon like Vritrasur is offering these prayers, who is against demigods. Huh? Because there are Sura and Asura. Sura are favorable to the Lord, and those who are opposed to the thought process and mindset of the Lord Vishnu, they are Asura. So he's saying, this demon is offering such prayers. Aham harirta padeka moolam ajata pakshaya matram. How is it possible? And he's stunned. He's asking his Guru Maharaj, Narayana Parasarve na kutashona. No, not this one, that one. Muktanam avi siddhana Vasudeva Parayana. Sudallabha Prasantatma. What is Api? Mahamuni. So he says that it's so rare. Muktanam avi siddhana Narayana Parayana. Kotisapi Mahamuni. This demon, he is offering these prayers. How is it possible? So that's from where Chitraketu Maharaj's story begins. This is where it concludes. Today it is at the concluding side. And then you heard those wonderful narrations from many stalwart devotees. Chitraketu Maharaj is everything and is still dissatisfied. Satisfaction, dissatisfaction is not so much about what we have and where we are and what we do. Oftentimes it looks like that, but not that. It's a state of our consciousness. So according to the state of consciousness, people can feel satisfied, dissatisfied in any given situation. Haridas Thakur could feel satisfied in the midst of so much turmoil. So much of rejection, so much opposition, so much of trouble. They could feel satisfied. And they didn't blame anyone, didn't curse anyone. And here Chitraketu Maharaj is having all the wealth of the world. He's having Dhanam Janam Sundarim to unlimited degree practically. Anyone could dream of it. He has it, Chitraketu Maharaj. Ruling over a vast kingdom, has millions of wives, has a big kingdom. Everything is there, but he's feeling totally dissatisfied. So he feels dissatisfied, and then Angira Muni comes, gives him the son, Harsha Shoka, and then the son dies eventually. Not only dies, but is actually killed by the co-wives of Kritaditi. And there's a lot of lamentation. And then again, Narad Muni comes, preaches. The preaching is very effective this time. And Chitraketu Maharaj becomes totally detached. And he receives a mantra for worshipping and pleasing Lord Sankarshan from Narad Muni. He chants this mantra, and within 7 days, you see, it's the intensity which matters. How much time will it take to go from here to, say, Vrindavan? How much time will it take? Just from how much time? How much time will it take?
25 hours.
Huh? Right. Depends on what means of transport. Right? Accordingly it varies. So similarly, intensity matters a lot. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajayate purusha. Tivrata is very important. I'm speaking so I can develop some tivrata. I become dull now. so, so, so tivrata is very important. So Chitraketu Maharaj 7 days. Narad Muni's blessings. Dhruva 5 months. 5 months? 4 months. 5 months. 5 months. Dhruva Maharaj 5 months. 5 months. Darshan of the Lord. Here Chitraketu 7 days. And he was there right in front of his beloved Lord Sankarshan, eternal devotee of Sankarshan. He was there right in front, having darshan, offering glorification, and Lord is reciprocating. And Lord gifted him a plane. And Lord made him the emperor of Vidyadhar Loka. So that's why he had all these Vidyadhari ladies around him. And he was moving around in the plane for long, long time. And here the Lord was thinking, it's a long time. Chitraketu is good. Doing bhakti, there's no material desire, is relishing, but let's have some exciting thing. To glorify my devotee, to glorify the qualities of my devotee, let me have something. Let me use him as an instrument to establish what a true devotee is like. Let me use this as an example for the conditioned souls to show the what a Vaishnava really is like, devotee is like. So that's where this pastime now, what we are reading, is going to begin. Shri Shuka Uvacha Yatashantarhito Anantas Tasyai Kritva Dishe Namaha Vidyadhara Chitraketus Chachara Gaganecharaha. What do you do? One by one you can read, or maybe like 5 slokas everyone can read, otherwise it passes too fast. And I will read the purport, some part of it, and explain a bit. And that's how we'll go, along with Srila Prabhupada's purports and the storyline both. And since it's not a Bhagavatam class, so definitely one sloka will not get the whole class. We just touch up some important parts of it and then move ahead. Yes.
Sri Sukdev Goswami said, after offering obeisances to the direction in which Ananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had appeared, Chitraketu began traveling in outer space as the head of the Vidyadharas.
So, as we discussed, Chitraketu Maharaj attained the mercy of the Lord. He had darshan of the Lord. He offered beautiful, beautiful prayers. And after that, Lord Sankarshan, Lord Ananta, he reciprocated by accepting those prayers and blessing Chitraketu Maharaj, gifting him the rule over the Vidyadharas. And then he disappeared, and Chitraketu Maharaj offered obeisances in that direction. Just like some car goes, so we also pay obeisances on the road. And wonder what happened, whom they're paying obeisances by going down to ground. It's like, apart from ISKCON, it's literally unheard and unseen. People can fold hands and go down like this, that itself is a big thing. So going down on the ground, touching the ground with head or going down flat, right? So like that we do. Similarly, Lord Ananta had come, he's gone in a direction, and Chitraketu Maharaj offered his obeisances. And after that, he began traveling in outer space as the head of the Vidyadharas. Together, huh? Salaksham Varsa Lakshanam Avyahata Balendriya Suyamano Mahayogi Munivi Siddhacharane Kulachalendra Donishu Nana Sankalpa Siddhishu Reme Vidyadharastribhim Gapayan Harim Ishwaram.
Being praised by great sages and saints and by the inhabitants of Siddhaloka and Charanloka, Chitraketu, the most powerful mystic yogi, wandered about enjoying life for millions of years. With bodily strength and senses free from deterioration, he traveled within the valleys of the Sumeru mountain, which is the place of perfection for various kinds of mystic power. In those valleys, he enjoyed life with women of Vidyadharaloka by chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Hari.
Difficult for brahmachari to imagine. Seeing a woman is so distracting. How do you move with a woman and sing the glories of the Lord? Today morning I was telling that the greatest enemy is lust. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Eneva Varena. So Chitraketu Maharaj being purified, he was not attracted to women in the same way as the conditioned souls. And he was singing the glories of the Lord, and he moved around for millions of years, not for a short time, a long time. He went to the valleys of Sumeru mountain, where many yogis they do tapasya for siddhis. And there he was chanting the glories of the Lord like demigods do. Demigods are with their wives, but they're chanting the holy name of the Lord. And Vaikuntha, they're also with the very heavenly ladies, which are almost like Lakshmis, but they're not attracted to them because they're attracted to the hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So, so this is a test of the taste. You know? Lust and love both cannot go hand in hand. If one increases, one has to decrease. So the degree, I mean the test for one's advancement in Krishna consciousness is that Kama Lobha Dayashe Cheta Eter Anirviddhi. Kama and Lobha has to come down. Mode of ignorance, passion has to subside. Because passion creates lust and greed both. So here Chitraketu Maharaj being blessed by Lord Ananta, Lord Sankarshan, is moving around without getting affected. And let's see purport what Srila Prabhupada says. It is to be understood that Maharaj Chitraketu, although surrounded by beautiful women from Vidyadhar Loka, did not forget to glorify the Lord by chanting the holy name of the Lord. It has been proved in many places that one is not contaminated by any material condition, who is a pure devotee engaged in chanting the glories of the Lord, should be understood to be perfect. Yeah. Okay, next. Now is the setting where he comes one day. Ekada means one day. That's to set together. Ekada savimanena Vishnu dattena bhasvata Girisham dadrushe gachan paritam siddhacharane Alingyani kirtam devim bahuna muni samsadi Uvacha devaya shanuvantya jaha usches tadantike.
One time, while King Chitraketu was traveling in outer space on a brilliantly effulgent airplane given to him by Lord Vishnu, he saw Lord Shiva surrounded by Siddhas and Charanas. Lord Shiva was sitting in a great assembly of saintly persons and embracing Parvati on his lap with his arm. Chitraketu laughed loudly and spoke within the hearing of Parvati.
Setting the scene. Very unusual. Everything is quite unusual from condition perspective. Satyajit moving and glorifying the Lord. Brahmacharis either do it secularly or do with other brahmacharis, but here Maharaj is doing with many women. And they're all pure because in contemplative stage we have a different outlook toward things. And while flying like this on a plane, brilliantly effulgent airplane, not Indigo or Air India, but it is given by Lord Vishnu himself. He saw Lord Shiva, Siddhas and Charanas was there. He was sitting in that assembly on a kind of Vyasasana, embracing Parvati on his lap with his arm. Very unusual. What to say of lap? They don't sit on the same Vyasasana also. You don't see that. Both sitting. But Lord Shiva also want to test his followers, whether his followers know him properly or they doubt his character. This Lord Shiva's also test for his followers. What do they think about it? Recently I was reading about Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So, sometimes uh, he tells the story of a devotee in Vrindavan who became popular. So he said, then the devotee, actually, he got a prostitute and made her sit on his kutiya's door. Babaji Maharaj says, he's the best. He's not after fame. He wants people to misunderstand him that this prostitute is sitting Babaji inside, then what we can imagine. So they leave him and he can do his bhajan. This bhajan asha and pratishtha asha both are very contrary. Both can't flourish together. So sometimes Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj considering that the dirty smell of pratishtha, the odor of pratishtha is fouler than the odor of human stool. So sometimes he'll go into toilets and do bhajan. That's very famous. Huh? When Rani Dharmashala is there, they used to do his bhajan sometimes in the toilet. So he saw that this order of pratishtha, tumhara pratishtha, shukare ravishta. So those who feel like that, who will, shukare ravishta nobody wants, but pratishtha everyone wants. So that means that correlation is not yet fully clear. We may say it, but we don't know it, otherwise we will not want it. Who in this world like this, Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gunaya? Manusha Janama Paiya, Radha Krishna Bhajanu, Janiya Shuniya, Vishakhainu. So we don't consider sense gratification as good as poison. Otherwise, we don't eat cyanide. Yeah. On one hand is potassium cyanide, on the other hand is sense gratification. So we can't equate, na? Anyway, I'm doing sense gratification, let me eat poison willingly. No, we'll not eat it. We know we'll die. So it's not yet in a realized form. It's somewhat known to us, but not yet realized. But for Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, it was fully realized. So he was preferred like that. So Lord Shiva also, by sitting with Mother Parvati in the lap, is saying, let me see what my followers feel. What do they think about it? Do they know me in truth, tattvataha? Or do they get carried away by my external actions of how I deal with certain things? Of course, on another hand, it said that Yadyad Achrati Sreshta Tatta Devataro Jana, so you have to reconcile both, whether to do a proper conduct or to do test. So Lord Shiva is Vaishnavana Mitha Shambhu. So this is a smaller circle of his own intimate followers where he's sitting like this and giving, and there may be other reasons which we don't know because no Acharya has mentioned. But this I heard from one Vaishnava, that's why I'm quoting this. So that's why it's there. Otherwise, in general, for people in general, it's essential to set a good standard. Otherwise, they will be misled. They will copy the action without knowing the intention behind it. So it's very important to have the right action also along with that intention. But at times the Lord, like by performing Ras Leela for the pleasure of his devotee, or here Lord Shiva is sitting with his wife in a very different pose, not a usual thing. And that was very unusual for Chitraketu Maharaj, and that's what Chitraketu laughed loudly and spoke. So Vishnu Thakur said in this connection, Bhaktir bhutim harir dattva savichhedanubhutaye devaya sapena vitratvam nitvatam swantike. Purport is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to bring Chitraketu to Vaikuntha as soon as possible. So the Lord's plan was that Chitraketu would be cursed by Parvati to become Vritrasur, so that in his next life he could quickly return back home, back to Godhead. There have been many instances in which a devotee acting as a demon has been brought to the kingdom of God by the mercy of the Lord. So sometimes things appear to go wrong, but that going wrong also is perfect. It's a part of the Lord's plan if we have that faith. Things going wrong can be a part of the Lord's plan, provided we have that faith on Him. And more or less, in our life, something went wrong, and that something going wrong became a cause for us becoming serious in Krishna consciousness. Something went wrong. Something maybe in our family, distant family, brother, sister, parent, something went wrong, and it created a kind of a strong sense of detachment and a strong sense of feeling that this material world is not all in one. It's very irritating. And that became a cause of our taking to Krishna consciousness seriously or understanding the philosophy very properly. So So Lord's plan sometimes may look very painful, but if we can go through it, then it is very joyful and it brings about very close relationship with the Lord. There have been many instances in which a devotee acting as a demon has been brought to the kingdom of God by the mercy of the Lord. For Parvati to be embraced by Lord Shiva was natural in a relationship between husband and wife. This was nothing extraordinary for Chitraketu to see. The problem was that it was happening publicly. That was extraordinary. Nonetheless, Chitraketu laughed loudly to see Lord Shiva in that situation, even though he should not have done so. So somebody may do something wrong or different than what usually is expected of him, but then we don't have to do something as a reaction in a public way. We can privately ask him and tell him. Had it been a private talk, then this chapter would not have been there. But it was laughed in public. Thus, he was eventually cursed, and this curse was the cause of his returning home back to Godhead. So, although things may happen by Lord's plan, but we have to learn lesson of individual responsibility from the characters also. Chitraketur uvacha Esha loka guru sakshat dharmam bhakta sharirinam aste mukhya sabhayam vai mithuni bhuyabhareya.
Chitraketu said, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the general populace, is the best of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. He enunciates the system of religion, yet how wonderful it is that he is embracing his wife Parvati in the midst of an assembly of great saintly persons.
So this is not a direct criticism coming out of envy. Generally, when there's an aparad is born because there's envy in the heart. There's criticism. But here, it is like a adbhut thing. It's a wonder. Chitraketu Maharaj is wondering. And that's why he's glorifying Lord Shiva. 3 lines glorify Lord Shiva. And in 1 line, he's expressing his wonder in a apparently critical way. He says he is the spiritual master of the general populace. What it says here? Esha Loka Guru Sakshat. And then he says Shakshat Dharma Bhakta, that he is the best of all living entities who accept material bodies. And he enunciates the system of religion. 3 good qualities telling. And then he's expressing wonder that Sabhayam Vai Mithuni Bhuya Bhani. In the Sabha only he's embracing his wife. How wonderful it is. He's not telling me why are you doing that. He was wondering. He's the Guru of general populace. He's the best of all living entities. He's Dharma Bhakta. He establishes the principle of religion. And still he's doing something which is apparently different. Okay. So 3 lines of glorification, 1 line of wonder or criticism. Now second one. जटाधरस्ति व्रतप ब्रह्मवादी सभापति अंकीकृत्य स्त्रियं चास्ते गतह्री प्राकृतो यथा.
Shiva, whose hair is matted on his head, has certainly undergone great austerities and penances. Indeed, he is the president in the assembly of strict followers of Vedic principles. Nonetheless, he is seated with his wife on his lap in the midst of saintly persons and is embracing her as if he were a shameless, ordinary human being.
As if. That means if an ordinary person does this, then he's a shameless human being. But as if, he's not. That's why as if. He's not saying, oh, he's like, as if. Ordinary man. He's just imitating the behavior of an ordinary man. And here he says that he is Jatadhara and Tivra Tapaha, Brahmavadi Sabhapati, the president of an assembly. Prabhupada, president, not the leader, president. Sabhapati Brahmavadi. And then what is it? Anki Kritya Striyam Cha Aste Gatahiri. Just like without shame, Prakriti, ordinary person. So he's not an ordinary person conditioned by 3 modes, but still this particular behavior of him, it looks like that, he is acting like an ordinary man, although he's not ordinary. Prabhupada writes in the purport. Chitraketu appreciated the exalted position of Lord Shiva, therefore he remarked that how wonderful it was that Lord Shiva was acting like an ordinary human being. He appreciated Lord Shiva's position, but when he saw Lord Shiva sitting in the midst of saintly persons and acting like a shameless ordinary man, he was astonished. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarked that although Chitraketu criticized Lord Shiva, he did not offend Lord Shiva like Daksha. Daksha also said, no, what kind of person is this Daksha criticized the name, form, qualities, and activities of Lord Shiva. Just like we glorify the Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela of a great devotee or the Lord, Daksha systematically criticized all four of them. So, but this remark by Chitraketu was not like Daksha. Daksha considered Lord Shiva insignificant, but Chitraketu expressed his wonder. अरे इतना महान आदमी होकर के भी ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं. So Chitraketu expresses wonder at Lord Shiva being situated that way. Text 8. Prayasa prakrtaschapi striyam rahasi bibrati ayam mahavrata dharo bibrati sadashi striyam.
Ordinary conditioned souls generally embrace their wives and enjoy their company in solitary places. How wonderful it is that Lord Mahadev, although a great master of austerity, is embracing his wife openly in the midst of an assembly of great saints.
Yeah. So that's what I'm telling. Ordinary people do this thing ordinarily. There's nothing very surprising. But Lord Shiva, a great person, doing it in public, that is something surprising. The word Mahavratadhara indicates a brahmachari who has never fallen down. Lord Shiva is counted among the best of the yogis. Yet he embraced his wife in the midst of great saintly persons. Chitraketu appreciated how great Lord Shiva was to be unaffected even in that position. Therefore, Chitraketu was not an offender. He merely expressed his wonder. He saw something extraordinary which he had never seen earlier. So he expressed his wonder in public and he got misunderstood. He had no intentions to criticize Lord Shiva or to offend Mother Parvati. But this is the meaning of samsar. Davanal Riddoloka. Davanal means forest fire, which comes from rubbing of the bamboo stick. And bamboo sticks also don't want to be in fire because they will get themselves get burned. And the bamboo sticks are desiring fire. They themselves will get burned. Still, against the wish and will of the bamboo sticks and everything else, the air is there, the wind is there, the wind is blowing, the bamboos are moving, and then spark is coming and the fire is there. Nobody knows how to put it off. Samsar Dawa. So don't feel and don't think that everything can be logically understood and explained. Try your best. After that, be peaceful. Wait for the right time because sometimes we may have clarity or we want to give clarity, take clarity, things don't get resolved. So, not an issue. Just wait for the right time to come. That day, therefore, yesterday for the festival at farm, one family had come from Bhor. Very dedicated family, very committed. So they were making bundi for the raita next day. Okay. So they made besan, great effort. First they had chana, they made that besan atta, we have machine. And then they put water, some masala in that. And then with that chalni, they were putting, and then they were falling in the oil they were frying. So they were frying in the oil and they were taking it out and putting it in bucket after removing the oil. So like that they put 2 bucket of bundi, bundi they made for the raita next day. So they made and they took almost like 11:30 in the night. Till then they were working because you have to do one at a time. It's a small thing, no? Bundi is a small thing, takes time. And you have to put besan and keep on chalni. All that they're doing. Husband, wife, daughter, 3 of them. And they kept it. Next day, we came and we saw smoke coming out of these buckets. What happened? What happened? Some fire came, not like coal or something is gone inside, nothing nice, the gas and chigdi and all that. So we inverted, we put that bundis back into that big tray, and 3/4 of that was totally roasted black. Phenomena? We experienced first time. Roasted black. So what has happened was that they didn't know it, and it was not their intention. They worked hard. Why will they want to burn it? But the oil was so hot. Oil is coming, and oil, they suck oil, now oil remains inside. And then everyone was together. So the combined heat, it would have exploded, it would have created fire actually. Fortunately, fire did not come, otherwise it could have been an accident also. It just roasted totally black smell and like charcoal. None of us has ever experienced that in Bundi. But it just got totally burnt. So sometimes, we expert cook and knowing things, but sometimes things happen. ऐसे कैसे हो गया? All of us are surprised. ऐसे कैसे हो गया? How did it happen? So then anyway, okay, he said, okay, ककड़ी है, ककड़ी को घिसको डाल दो, ककड़ी बूंदी रायता नहीं तो ककड़ी रायता. Like that. So we don't know everything in this world, and even the best of the people commit mistakes. Our architect is there who designing things there. He came, प्रभु जी बहुत बड़ा गलती हो गया, मैं क्या करूँ, क्षमा कर दीजिए. क्या हो गया? बड़ा क्या गलती हो गया? टूट फूट गया, स्लैब गिर गया, क्या हो गया? बोले नहीं, हमने वो दरवाजा उस जगह से निकाला था, उस पर चौखट बिठाना था, तो दरवाजा पहले था, तो चौखट अभी दरवाजे के हिसाब से बिठानी पड़ेगी ना, ये दरवाजा है ऑलरेडी. तो वो जो मेरा आदमी है उसको मैंने समझाया था, उसने क्या किया, उसने वो जो है चौखट को 1 इंच छोटा कर दिया. तो दरवाजा फाइबर का है, फाइबर तो कट नहीं कर सकते, लकड़ी तो है नहीं कि कट कर दो उसको, फाइबर है. तो अभी इतना बड़ा गलती हो गया, आई एम वेरी सॉरी, व्हाट टू डू एंड दिस दैट. तो मैंने बोला क्या है, वो जो दरवाजा है उसके लिए दूसरा जगह पे बैठा देंगे, उसके साइज का चौखट बना के इधर अपना है बैठा दो. तो ही गॉट अ डोर विच बिकेम हाईलाइट ऑफ यस्टरडेज फेस्टिवल. और डोर तो खैर है वो लकड़ी का ही, लेकिन उसको मतलब ट्रेडिशनल लुक है, उसको पीतल का छल्ला लगा हुआ है, लगा हुआ है. क्या डोर? So I said, see, your mistake has brought so much glory to you. Your person committed mistake, you chastised him, but because of his mistake, you got a new door, and now for new door, you are getting so much appreciation. So sometimes you don't know what is good fortune and what is not so. अभी ये जो प्लेन क्रैश हुआ अहमदाबाद में, so one family was going to board that plane and they were like rushing and they got caught up in traffic. They couldn't board that plane and they were like lamenting like anything. लंदन का फ्लाइट है ना, टिकट को थोड़े रिफंड मिलता है कुछ उसमें. लंदन का फ्लाइट टिकट मतलब 20-22 हजार का तो होगा कम से कम जब भी बुक कर. क्या है, calling the taxi driver bad names and calling the traffic, cursing the traffic, cursing. And then within seconds the plane crashed. Now put Garland for the same person. कौन था वो टैक्सी ड्राइवर? कौन था जिसने गाड़ी गलत जगह खड़ा करके जाम लगाया था? गाड़ी गलत जगह खड़ा किया तो हम खड़े हैं. We don't know, and that is why in this world, to go into ऐसा बाल के खाल निकाल के एकदम किसने क्या बोल के क्या किया किधर, बहुत जरूरत नहीं है. Mind your own business, do things, keep the intentions right and actions right to whatever degree you can. And if something goes wrong, feel sorry for that. Express your state of mind by saying sorry for the inconvenience which is being caused and move ahead. We can't die in guilt, and we can't, become a logician or a scientist to get in the root of everything. Life should go on. So here, Chitraketu Maharaj is expressing his wonder in a positive way, and Mother Parvati misunderstands, so much happens. But moves on. That is what we learn from Chitraketu Maharaj past time. But what I'm saying is that when people are together, things can happen without the wrong intention of any of them. So it's not that he did wrong, it was not that Parvati was wrong or Chitraketu was wrong. Both had their sides, both had their perspectives. Right? If you see this clock, you also see something in the clock, right? You see that clock, no? You're seeing something, no? There's the buttons, there are the knob and everything, and it's true. And for me, I'm seeing the digital display. Same thing is there, but there are two perspectives to that. So there's no point in fighting. You understand? There is another perspective to the situation, another perspective to the person, another side of the person. So other people may be interacting with the other side. That is why in this world, there's no like person whom everyone will love, or there's no person whom everyone will hate. Every person will have some people who will have affection for him and some others who will not have so much affection for him, because they are interacting with a different sides of his personality. So that's very important. The human dynamics, the dynamics of human mind is very beautifully explained here in this context. Now Sukadeva Goswami will express his feelings now. Now Chitraketu Maharaj expressed, now Sukadeva Goswami will express. Sheshuka Uvacha Bhagavan apita shrutva prahasya gadadhir nirpa tushni babuva sadashi savaya shattad anubrata.
Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, after hearing Chitraketu's statement, Lord Shiva, the most powerful personality whose knowledge is fathomless, simply smiled and remained silent. And all the members of assembly followed the Lord by not saying anything.
Lot of things are happening in this. Huh? This is one of my favorite chapters in the whole Bhagavatam. Very lot of practical lessons coming. Chitraketu Maharaj is doing something. He's wondering. He's expressing. Parvati, Mother Parvati is hearing that thing. Lord Shiva, about whom is speaking, he is saying, he smiled. Simply smiled and remained silent. Seeing him, the sages understood that Lord Shiva is not taking any offense. Lord Shiva is peaceful. It is between them. Later on, Vishnu Thakur said this was a light conversation between the two god brothers. So, with Chitraketu Maharaj saying, Arey, just see you are sitting in the assembly, keeping your wife on your lap, giving lecture. And as if it is not said, but they know the mind. They are saying that, oh, you are criticizing me for keeping my wife on my lap. Laptops are, lot of laptops are there in Bhagavatam. Dhruv Maharaj is a laptop. Hiranakashipu was the laptop. Mother Parvati became laptop. Be careful with the laptops. Yeah, laptop. Okay. So a lot of incidents of laptops. So Lord Shiva is saying like that. I mean, as if saying, Acharya's quote, as if saying, Are, you're criticizing me for having my wife on my lap for some time, and here you are moving with thousands of wives, thousands of ladies in the plane and going all around, roaming. So you are with thousands of women and you are criticizing me with one woman. Just see. The needle is, the sieve is laughing at the needle. The sieve has many holes, no? Chalni. What do you call chalni, Jovi? And needle has one hole. One hole, just see. So you are one wife and you are moving. What are you doing? So like that they were joking. But so sages saw what is Lord Shiva's response. So this is very important that because we have Mahajanana Gathasa Pantha or we are, Guru Sadhu Shastra, that if something happen, we can observe what my Guru is saying, what my Guru is doing. How is he responding? Supreme Court order has come about it. What is my Guru saying? What is my superior saying? Bangladesh, some fight has happened. Okay, what are our leaders saying? Let's hear them. Because we can't supersede them. They know more than us. They are better situated than us. They have more concern for ISKCON than us. So let's see what they say and let's try to understand. Rather than, okay, open podcast, all the assemblies come and हमारे साथ ना इंसाफी हुआ है, हम ऐसा कर देंगे. Happened na recently, very hit case, Patna case, going on. So if one throws off the idea of looking at the superiors, how they deal with a particular situation in a context, then one will be controlled by one's mind only. Then he will become. So both things were there. Chitraketu Maharaj also should have seen कि अरे बैठे हैं शिव जी, इधर लोग बैठे हुए हैं. कौन बैठे हुए हैं? Mother Parvati will go to. Sanat Kumar is sitting, Brahmaji is sitting, Narad Muni is sitting. So there, Narad Muni's Guru is sitting, and Guru is not saying anything. See, Narad Muni and Lord Shiva, in one sense, they are brothers because they are both born of Brahma. And Lord Shiva and Chitraketu Maharaj, God brothers, in the sense both are devotees of Anantya. So if his Guru is not saying something, then disciples should also not say something. It's better. You can ask Guru, how do I understand, this thing? Like I asked once Radhan Madan, how to understand people are getting so agitated about this Bangladesh issue, Hindu-Muslim issue, and this and that. So Maharaj gave a long reply, but in a sense he repeated this was the situation proper time also. And we should not take any side of the politicians because it will change. Maharaj gave the whole history. He says in 1980s, nobody knew BJP. BJP got one seat for the first time they were in election. And now the Congress has gone out of power. That time nobody thought that there will be a time when Congress will not be in power. Now 3 times Modi ji has come. But even Modi ji will have to go. This is the nature of the time. Nobody remains here forever. Somebody else will come in power. Nothing that it is not that Modi ji is at fault or Congress was at fault. It's just the nature of time. Nobody remains here forever. It changes. So we take sides and we get agitated, then we'll be in trouble. We are not a political party, right? We are a spiritual movement, and we have to have goodwill of anybody who is in power or not in power. We want the goodwill of everyone. We don't want to get sectarian about it. So anyway, he gave a long answer. But what I'm saying is that one should confirm, no? One gets confused, and many times in lectures many times we can get association of many senior Vaishnavas whom we can ask. Rather than we coming in a Prasadam hall meeting, kya bola uda denge, isko chala denge, ye karo, wo karo, become too much agitating. This concept of following the superior senior is a universal concept. In the military also, the hierarchy is very strongly followed. Any little disobedience or disrespect or not following the instruction can bring about serious results. Court martial tak ho jata hai turant, chota sa cheez pe bhi. So it's a very important etiquette. So Ritaketu Maharaj, he had his feeling, and then here Mother Parvati also saw Lord Shiva, Paul was not saying. So everyone has their own emotions. At the same time, we have to learn lessons from everyone. So here, no one is to blame because all happening by the arrangement of the Lord. All are good, all are wonderful. But it's for us to learn lessons from everyone. We can learn lesson from everyone without being critical or blaming them for what they did. But we learn for ourselves. What they did was perfect in their situation. But we learn what to do and not to do in our situation. So, Chitraketu's purpose in criticizing Lord Shiva is somewhat mysterious and cannot be understood by a common man. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, however, has made the following observations. Lord Shiva, being the most exalted Vaishnava and one of the most powerful demigods, is able to do anything he desires. Although he was externally exhibiting the behavior of a common man and not following etiquette, such actions cannot diminish his exalted position. Because, this is a topic in itself, but at one place we says that Teji Yasamna Doshaya. Some exalted people can do something which cannot be followed. Neither it can be criticized. Because they can do that, not everyone can. Teji Yasamna Doshaya. In general, the rule is Yadyad Achati Sreshcha Tatta Deva Tarja. In general, everybody should, Apani Acharya Prabhu Jagat. In general, that's the rule. But at times, if some of the great personalities do something for a specific purpose, that should not be criticized and neither it should be imitated. Sukadeva Goswami, after telling about the Ras Leela pastime, very clearly tells anybody who tries to imitate Ras Leela is trying to imitate Lord Mahadev, who drank the ocean of poison. It's like that. So one cannot imitate Ras Leela and one cannot criticize Lord for Ras Leela. He can do it, not everyone. Teji Asamna Doshaya. They can do something because they are powerful like sun. So he may exhibit the behavior of a common man and not follow etiquette, but still he cannot be criticized. He is glorified for that, or he is doing that. Such action cannot diminish his exalted position. The difficulty is that a common man seeing Lord Shiva's behavior might follow his example, and that's now it comes the second part of it. A common man might also criticize Lord Shiva like Daksha, who suffered consequences for his criticism. So King Chitraketu desired that Lord Shiva sees this external behavior, as Acharya is explaining here, so that others might be saved from criticizing him and thus become offended. That was his thought. If I don't correct him, it will do harm to other people. Lord Shiva is Vaishnava Yethashambhu, we want to set the right example, we want to benefit everyone. But by doing this, others will criticize his behavior and they will fall down. So let me correct him so that he may rectify his behavior. Although he's not getting affected by that behavior, but still let me correct so that others may not get affected. It was not out of criticism for Lord Shiva, but it was out of compassion for the living entities that Chitraketu Maharaj corrected him. If one thinks that Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the only perfect personality, whereas the demigods like Lord Shiva are inclined into improper social affair, he is an offender. Considering all of this, Chitraketu Maharaj was somewhat harsh in his behavior with Lord Shiva. People will think, oh, demigods are all useless, they are also ungratified, only Lord Vishnu is perfect. But that will be an offense because Lord Shiva is also a great devotee. So, to save common people from offending Lord Shiva, Chitraketu Maharaj tried to express his wonder so that he can like it. Lord Shiva, who is always in deep knowledge, could understand Chitraketu's purpose and therefore he was not at all angry, rather he simply smiled and remained silent. The members of the assembly surrounding Lord Shiva could also understand Chitraketu's purpose. Consequently, following the behavior of Lord Shiva, they did not protest. Instead, following their master, they remained silent. If the members of the assembly thought that Chitraketu had blasphemed Lord Shiva, they would certainly have left at once, blocking their ears with their hand. Like it happened. Many left the assembly of Daksha later when the fight broke up. So that's why they also understood, Lord Shiva also understood, he is correcting me for the common man. And they also understood, so they remained silent. Now, that was one perspective. Now, immediately, Sukadeva Goswami gets into the mood of Mother Parvati. Because these people, when they're speaking something from some side, they're actually relishing getting in the mood. Like Parishit Maharaj, when Putana is coming, he just heard Krishna came, showed his 400 form and everything, became 200 child and went. And immediately Putana is coming, so now immediately Parishit Maharaj is getting worried, getting concerned because he's got that bhava for the Lord, that Lord is in that form. The mother Devaki is saying the 400 form, turning into 200 form, and still she's saying, Kamsa will come and kill you, I will hide you. She could not save the other 6 children. Still she had the confidence that I'll hide this child and save him somehow. So when the feelings arise, then the logic takes a backseat. Mothers, sometimes child is there, he has his own children, grown up children, still mother will say, Beta, ghar pahunch gaya kya? As if he's traveling first time in life. so that kind of concern is there. That so when these personalities like Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, when they're hearing and speaking about something, some person, they are in that mood, they're in that era, they're in that realm of when it is actually happening. That they're going through that emotions, like 3D virtual reality. You've seen virtual reality. You put that spectacles and you put that, and then you are actually like driving a car, and your car hits something. You also get a jerk. You're sitting in the seat, nothing is there, but actually you get a jerk in the seat only, and you feel like as if you hit something. That they get into that just by putting a camera. So what to say when you're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam with absorption, much more than any 3D camera or any virtual reality experience. Actually can experience the emotions of that. And at Bhagavatam, many places these feelings come up. And Sukadeva Goswami become ecstatic hearing the glories of the holy name or hearing about Parishit Maharaj. Right? That section. Like in the 5th canto, we read about Priyavrat Maharaj dynasty. Priyavrat Maharaj dynasty, and Parishit Maharaj feeling, oh, Priyavrat Maharaj is so wonderful. Priyavrat Maharaj came. Then in the same dynasty, Rishabdev came, Bharat Maharaj came. So immediately Sukadeva Goswami could read his mind. And out of nowhere he says, oh, my dear Parikshit Maharaj, how wonderful you are. Your great grandfather, and Krishna became their servant, and he did everything for them. He became their messenger and order carrier and chariot driver and security guard, whatnot. Immediately they could get that feeling. So here also, Sukadeva Goswami now in this verse is getting into the mood of Mother Parvati. And what he says? Iti atadvi devedushi bruvane bhava ashobhanam rusha devi drashtaya nirjitatma vimanine. This is the feeling of Mother Parvati. From Mother Parvati's side, he's feeling like that. When he's thinking of Mother Parvati, he's getting the emotion of Mother Parvati. Then he's saying this verse.
Not knowing the prowess of Lord Shiva and Parvati, Chitraketu strongly criticized them. His statements were not at all pleasing, and therefore the goddess Parvati, being very angry, spoke as follows to Chitraketu, who thought himself better than Shiva in controlling the senses.
Nirjitatma abhimanine. He thought himself that I have better sense control. You are with 100 women, he is with 1 woman. Still you feel you have better sense control with that. So here he says, Chitraketu strongly criticized them. The statement was not at all pleasing, and therefore Parvati, Drashtaya, Chitraketu was shameless. He spoke as follows. So Parvati has her reasons. Parvati had her reasons for being angry, had her reasons for saying what she said. And Prabhupada says, although Chitraketu never meant to insult Lord Shiva, he should not have criticized the Lord. Even though the Lord was transgressing social customs. See, there Prabhupada quoted, Yadyata Ashis Srishta. And here he quotes, he should have not done it. Why? It is said, Teji Yasamna Doshayam. One is very powerful, should be understood to be faultless. For example, one should not find fault with the sun, although it evaporate urine from the street. The most powerful cannot be criticized by any ordinary man, even by a great personality. Chitraketu should have known that Lord Shiva, although sitting in that way, was not to be criticized. The difficulty was that Chitraketu, having become a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Sankarshan, was somewhat proud at having achieved Lord Sankarshan's favor, and therefore he thought that he could now criticize anyone, even Lord Shiva. This kind of pride in a devotee is never tolerated. Nirjit Atma Abhimanine. Not tolerated. क्या है? मैं भी कुछ हूँ. भगवान का दर्शन किया 7 दिन में कोई छोटा मोटा आदमी. The Vaishnava should always remain very humble and meek and offer respect to others. Tranadapi sunichena tarorapi saishna manina mandena kirtaniya sada hari. A Vaishnava should not try to minimize anyone else's position. It is better to remain humble and meek and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The word Nirjitatma Vimanina indicates that Chitraketu thought himself a better controller of the senses than Lord Shiva, although actually he was not. Because of all of these considerations, Mother Parvati was somewhat angry at Chitraketu. Now, here also it says, Mother Parvati was very angry or somewhat angry. And later on, Mother Parvati also tells Chitraketu, Putra Kaha. And Prabhupada said, Mother Yashoda used to bind Krishna. Similarly, Mother Parvati is correcting Chitraketu. You will use that analogy later. So what's happening is a very dynamic situation of emotions. It's dynamically changing. So don't go by ये सही है या गलत है बोलो चित्रकेतु ने अपराध किया नहीं किया. This is human psychology, human emotions. Human psychology, human emotion not bound by one thing. This is ever dynamic, ever changing phenomenon. That is why when we want to label one person like one, we become so troubled. Same person has many things. Something he will do excellently well, and somewhere he will have different thing. So what to say? ये ऐसा है क्या ऐसा ही है क्या? Oh, he's all good, all wonderful. These are his different facets, right? And we all have it. We all have a combination of these things. Somewhere we are very good at something, something we are very particular at something. चलता है. We all have that. लेकिन हमारे लिए जो चलता है वो किसी के लिए बहुत स्पेसिफिक हो सकता है. किसी के लिए बहुत स्पेसिफिक हो सकता है. उसके लिए वो नहीं चलता है क्योंकि उसका नीड अलग है. और उसके लिए जो बहुत स्पेसिफिक है अपने लिए चलता है. Like for example, somebody may be very sensitive in sleeping. Like we have few devotees, ultra sensitive. 2 किलोमीटर दूर भी पिन गिरेगा तो उनको लगेगा कि बम फट गया. So some people may be like that, ultra sensitive sleep. But eating में आएगा तो they are totally careless. जो मिल गया जहाँ मिल गया खाने. खाने के लिए कुछ भी चलता है, सोने के लिए नहीं चलता है. दूसरा आदमी है वो चेयर पे बैठ के सो, फर्क नहीं पड़ता किधर सोने का. स्नोरिंग भी करता है, दूसरे लोग भाग जाते हैं, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको लेटते ही बैठते ही नींद आ जाती है. खाने के लिए भाई क्या बनाया है. तो पूरा मसाले वाला सब्जी भी ऐसा लग रहा है कि हेल्थ सब्जी बना दिया, स्पाइसी नहीं, उसमें ड्राई सब्जी है, वेट नहीं है. डिफरेंट थिंग बिकॉज ही इज पर्टिकुलर अबाउट प्रसादम. सोने के लिए कुछ भी चलता है उसको. सो we should know that just like we have our needs and some needs are very particular where we can't really adjust, and somewhere just चले खाने के लिए क्या जाए, कुछ भी डाइट है क्या, डाइट क्या जो आप देंगे वही डाइट है अपना, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. और कुछ लोगों के लिए पूरे फोन कर गए हैं, ये चलेगा ये नहीं चलेगा, इसके अंदर आलू नहीं होना चाहिए, इसके अंदर मिर्ची नहीं होना चाहिए, उसके अंदर रेड चिली नहीं, ग्रीन चिली नहीं. पूरा डाइट चार्ट रहता है कुछ लोगों का, क्योंकि उनका तो नीड्स आर डिफरेंट. वी शुड नॉट क्रिटिसाइज एंड अप्रिशिएट पीपल फॉर दिस, क्योंकि वो उनका है ना, उनका नीड है. गौरव प्रभु ट्रेन में कब बैठे होंगे वो रिकॉर्ड निकालना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि उनको टाइम बचाना है ना. तो फ्लाइट एंड कार में जाएंगे 8 घंटा 6 घंटा कार में जाएंगे, क्योंकि you are with you have some control over time and something over that you can do. ट्रेन में क्या इतना लोग, कोई चिल्ला रहा है, कोई बच्चा रो रहा है, कौन सा केवल मिलेगा क्या पता है. no privacy over there. You can't talk on phone to private talks, you can't do and all this. और राधेश्याम प्रभु का एकदम अपोजिट है. उनको ट्रेन ही चाहिए और ट्रेन के अंदर स्लीपर ही चाहिए. अनइमेजिनेबल है. स्लीपर में कैसे अभी प्रभु जी कार्तिक में आए गोवा एक्सप्रेस से, पहले तो आए उधर से कोलकाता से और खड़गपुर, somewhere he came by train there to Mathura and then came, and then from Mathura only he went by Goa to came to Pune. हम लोगों ने ब्रह्मचारी लोगों के लिए थर्ड एसी का निकाला. थर्ड एसी का था ना सब. हाँ थर्ड एसी का. वैष्णव क्यों? क्योंकि एसी 24 घंटा उनको नहीं जमता, उनकी बॉडी को can't tolerate that. And he is okay, he's oblivious. नीचे क्या चिल्ला रहा है क्या है, प्रभु जी बाथरूम में नहीं जा पाए, चलेगा तो भी चलेगा, ऊपर बैठ के अपना लैपटॉप पे एकदम पूरा. He's creating world revolutionary articles and quizzes and writing books on the laptop in a train in sleeper bogie sitting on top. तो he can function there ना. दूसरा कोई होगा तो वो स्मेल और आदमी वो देख के बोलेगा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, 16 वाला भी नहीं होगा उसका, मतलब क्वालिटी वाइज. People have different needs. We should not take these needs as a sign of advancement or not advancement. Their needs, different people have different needs and we should provide them and we should leave it to them. हमारा नीड क्या है हमको पता करना पड़ेगा, हमको क्या जमता है क्या नहीं जमता है. ना हम राधेश्याम को जैसे बन सकते हैं ना गौरव को जैसे बन सकते हैं. दोनों नहीं बन सकते, इमिटेट नहीं कर सकते किसी को. So same way the human beings are very multifaceted in their personalities and in their thought processes. कोई चीज हो जाएगा और एक ही आदमी उसी चीज के लिए 5 लोगों को 5 कारण बताता है, वो बड़े कंफ्यूज होते हैं, वो मिलते हैं, अरे प्रभु जी ऐसा हो गया, हाँ प्रभु जी ने बोला ऐसा है, ऐसा बोलेगा मेरे को तो ऐसा. थिंग इज सेम. Thing is same. Suppose somebody is not going for yatra or something, and he will tell, "I'm not going for this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason." 3 people he will tell 3 different reasons why he's not going for yatra. Which one is true? All are true. वो अपने हिसाब से तीनों को 3 चीज बता रहे. So like that, human psychology, human nature is a very complicated thing. We cannot oversimplify it. It's not simple. It has multifaceted. We have to accept the multifaceted and then say, let go. चलो आगे. उसका लाइफ है, वो जी रहा है ना, अपना लाइफ हम जिएंगे, आगे चलेंगे. अटकना कहाँ पर. So same way, Mother Parvati, whether she was more very angry, somewhat angry, or she was compassionate. ये तीनों वर्ड प्रभुपाद ने यूज किया है. ट्रांसलेशन में लिखा है she was very angry. You see that? Rusha means anger. And then Prabhupada said in the translation, you see, Parvati being very angry, spoke as follows. And purport last line, because of all these considerations, Mother Parvati was somewhat angry. And later on, after Kursh, you'll find Prabhupada saying she was actually compassionate. So क्या था वो? Very angry, somewhat angry और compassionate. क्या है एक? एक बोलो, एक नहीं है, तीनों थे. तीनों emotion थे उनके पास. So that's how you should see that. Okay, now Mother Parvati will speak. After her speech, we'll take a break at 12:30 because we started a little late and I could not have darshan, so I'll go for darshan and come back. Shri Parvati Uvacha Ayam kim maduna loke shasta dandadhara prabhu अस्माद् विधानम दुष्टानाम निर्लज्जानाम च विप्रकृत. मदर पार्वती का heavy chastisement.
The goddess Parvati said, "Alas, has this upstart now received a post from which to punish a shameless person like us? Has he been appointed ruler, carrier of the rod of punishment? Is he now the only master of everything?"
So he says, "Oh, I am this one, this Chitraketu. Aduna loke shasta danda dhara prabhu." He has become the supreme controller. He is carrying the rod of punishment. Prabhu has become master. For what? Asmat vidhanam, dustanam, nirlajjanam. For people like us who are what? Dustanam, we are criminals. Nirlajjanam, we are shameless. And he is our restrainer. She is questioning. Oh, he has got appointed, he has got the authority for punishing people like us, shameless people like us. न वेद धर्म किलम पद्मयोनिर न ब्रह्मपुत्र भृगुनारदाय न वै कुमारः कपिलो मनुष्य येनो निषेधन्ति अतिवर्तनम हरम. Now she is listing all like Mahajans are listed. Here also 4 Mahajans are there. There's a Mahajans assembly. Yeah, read that.
Alas, Lord Brahma, who has taken his birth from the lotus flower, does not know the principle of religion, nor do the great saint like Bhrigu and Narada, nor the 4 Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumar, Manu, Kapila, have also forgotten the religion of principle. I suppose it to be because of that they have not tried to stop Lord Shiva from behaving improperly.
She's quoting. Not only me, but it looks like that Brahma, were taken his birth from the lotus flower. Padmaja, Bhrigu Muni, the best of the Brahmanas, Narada, Kumaru, Kapila, Manu. They have also forgotten. That's why they have not tried to stop. She's also quoting authority, ना? अरे जब कुछ गलत है तो ये लोग बोलेंगे ना, तुमको क्यों सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड एडवाइजर और सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड बनना, तुमको ज्यादा चिंता है, कंपेशन तुम्हारे पास ज्यादा, इन लोगों के पास नहीं. हाउ मेनी महाजन्स? ब्रह्मा जी, नारद मुनि, 4 कुमारस, स्वयंभू Manu, and 5 Mahajans are there. And we say Mahajan नहीं है ना, कथा से पंथ. गुरु जी भी है, महाजन भी है, और फिर भी जितने तुम्हारे को लग रहा है कि कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, मुझे कुछ करना चाहिए. Like, I mean, this is a big assembly. There were other Siddhas and Charanas, as I mentioned, but they were like leaders, and they could have told Shivji, I'm Brahmaji's father, no? In one sense, one kind of relationship. Or otherwise also, Brahmaji, Shivji, Narada, and Narada like brother, they would have told, "Hey, अच्छा नहीं, these are all, private चीजें हैं, इधर public में क्यों कर रहे हो?" They would have told, but they said, okay, Lord Shiva has some purpose, and we are more attracted to Lord Shiva's katha than what he's doing. Let go, let him do that. It doesn't diminish his power. He's a powerful person. And neither that means that all of us have to get some apsaras and make them sit on our lap. क्यों? क्योंकि महाजन शिवजी बैठे तो अपन लोग भी एक गर्लफ्रेंड लाके बिठाएंगे ना, क्या फर्क? No. See, a devotee has to have the discrimination that what can be uh, copied, or followed, or imitated, and what has to be followed in terms of instruction. That is why it's dynamic. It's dynamic. One cannot copy or imitate anyone in this creation. Right? One has to learn the principle, and as per one's level of strength, one has to follow it. One has to understand that the spirit. Lord Shiva is Vairagi. You want to set something, doesn't mean Narad Muni has to search, "Arey koi aake mere lap pe baitho." Brahmaji has to put Saraswati on his lap and everyone. No, it's fine. He's doing that, he has some reason, but let us focus on what he's telling. What is his message? What is the message Lord Shiva is giving? Let us focus on his message. So message and personality, both are important. It is not that, because otherwise message alone is not sufficient. Personality also is there, because that example has to be the right example. But how to balance both of them, that's a very dynamic thing. And that balance is called maturity. When we can maturely see how much to see the personality and how much to focus on the message, when we are able to balance it out, we're able to say, oh, this person is wonderful, there's so many wonderful things in that, there may be something which may be different than what I can understand. But then the message I take and, follow it. That balancing the message of the person, the personality of the person, requires deep maturity. Otherwise, when we don't like a person, we reject his message also. And sometimes we like the message, we like the person, then we accept everything what he says and does, although it may not be proper. It may not be proper. So many things happen in ISKCON. Like sometimes they are devotees, good devotee, initially devotee, but tilak and shikha also, French beard, or mustache and beard also these days in ISKCON. इसको पूछो भाई तू initiated है, दीक्षा लिया है, शेविंग किया था, ये किधर से आ गया? नहीं मुझे अच्छा लगता है, आजकल ट्रेंड है. So he's a good devotee, no doubt. He chants around properly, सोलह माला करता है बैठ करके, ऐसा नहीं करता है, लेकिन कुछ है उसका, तो छोड़ दो उसको. जब तक आप उसके काउंसलर नहीं, अथॉरिटी नहीं, जब तक छोड़ दो. आप क्रिटिसाइज करके भी क्या मिलने वाला है आपको? छोड़ दो उसको. बस इतना देखो, 16 माला कर रहा है, दीक्षा लिया, उसका गुरुजी देखेंगे, काउंसलर देखेंगे, जाना. राइट? बट दैट डजंट मीन कि मैं भी कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ, वो कर रहा है तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. नहीं, वो नहीं है. वो उसने पूछा होगा अपने गुरु से, काउंसलर से नहीं पूछा होगा, बट यू फॉलो द स्टैंडर्ड प्रोटोकॉल ऑफ clarifying and asking something and then do, na? Just because somebody break the rule, that doesn't give us the right to break the rule. Right? So like that, na, our mind, na, judges people at every moment actually. And because of that, mind becomes very complicated, simplicity in life goes away, chanting becomes difficult, living with devotees becomes difficult. हर किसी को देखो, ये ऐसा है, ये वैसा है, इसने ऐसा बोला, इसने ऐसा बोला, इससे बात नहीं करूंगा, इसकी ओर देखूंगा नहीं, इसको देख लूंगा. How much your mind keeps on commenting on every person, right? So then life becomes very complicated. Leave people as they are. They're practicing the process, right? They're in good association, they're reading Srila Prabhupada's book, they're doing Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Shastri, they will learn. और जिसका जिम्मेदारी आपने लिया है, उसको आप आपके हिसाब से थोड़ा बता दो. वो भी आपसे, आपकी जिम्मेदारी ये नहीं कि उसको पॉकेट में डाल के बैक टू गार्डन लेके जाना. तो मेरा शिष्य है ना, मेरा काउंसलर है, मेरा वॉइस मेंबर है, तुझे लेके जाके छोड़ूंगा, भगवत धाम में निकालूंगा जेब से. चलो, ऐसा नहीं है. Everyone has to go back to Godhead by one's own, hard work. Everyone has to fly his own plane. So ऐसा कुछ है, गाइड करो, थोड़ा डिटैच रहो. Give them guidance and let them understand it. Tell them the pros and cons and consequences and go ahead. Otherwise, पता नहीं, बहुत टेंशन का काम है भक्ति करना, संघ में भक्ति करना आसान नहीं है, टेंशन होता है. You have to learn the art of being together and relish that association and advance in that association. Otherwise, the association itself becomes the cause of our degradation. Because offenses happen in association. लोग बोलते हैं कि ना रहेगा association, ना होगा अपराध. ऐसा नहीं है, बिना association के भक्ति भी तो नहीं होती ना. Association is that mud around the root of the tree through which the nourishment gets transferred to the root. So either Mother Parvati is here, Mother Parvati is saying that so many people are there, but they have all forgotten religious principle. Only you are remembering them because you are the appointed person for us for rectifying, animals like us. एषामनुद्धेय पदाब्जयुग्मं जगद्गुरुं मङ्गलमङ्गलं स्वयं यकृच्छत्रबन्धुं परिभूय शूरीन् प्रशस्ति दृष्टा तदयं हि दण्डय.
This Chitraketu is the lowest of Kshatriyas.
छत्रबंधु. आगे पढ़ो.
This Chitraketu is the lowest of Kshatriyas, for he has impudently overbidden Brahma and the other demigods by insulting Lord Shiva, upon whose lotus feet they always meditate. Lord Shiva is personified religion and the spiritual master of the entire world, and therefore Chitraketu must be punished.
Yeah. So he has overridden. Huh? He has become better than them. And he is not even looking at the demigod, how they are behaving. Actually, Chitraketu also saw that Lord Shiva is personified religion. And he also said that he is I am Lok Guru. He also said he is Lok Guru. So both have understanding, but then how to deal with it was different. Yeah. All the members of the assembly were exalted Brahmanas and self-realized souls, but they did not say anything about the conduct of Lord Shiva, who was embracing the goddess Parvati in his lap. Chitraketu nonetheless criticized Lord Shiva, and therefore the opinion of Parvati was that he should be punished. And now Mother Parvati still further, fortifies her opinion by quoting the Lord's desire. Because that's very important. No? We are all serving for what? What is the goal? What is the goal of our practice? What is the goal of our service? To please? To please Hari Guru Vaishnavas, especially Prabhupada. Prabhupada का मिशन है, करके ही रहेंगे, झंडा गाड़ के रहेंगे. झंडा गाड़ने के लिए कितने लोगों की समाधि बन जाएगी पता नहीं कभी. लेकिन we are so focused. Who comes on the way, we have no concern at times. So here now Mother Parvati will say that what is Lord, because Lord may say, मेरे को तो इच्छा नहीं था ना, your desire, I know your desire. So here she will say, नायम अर्हति वैकुंठ पादमूलोपसर्पणम संभाविता मति स्तब्धः साधुभिः पर्युपासितम्.
This person is puffed up because of his achievement, thinking, I am the best. He does not deserve to approach the shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet, which are worshipped by all saintly person, for he is impudent, thinking himself greatly important.
So this is called intent impact gap between action and intention. See, Mother Parvati only heard what Chitraketu said. But Mother Parvati went on extrapolating why he said that. And what is the best way of knowing when somebody says something? What is the best way of knowing why one is saying that? Yes? Huh? Yeah? No. Somebody has said something. And we want to know why he has said something. So what is the best way of knowing why a person said something or did something? What is the best way to know? Like
Ask
he said,
that person.
ask that person. Akashvani. No? That's good. Ask that person. Na? But Mother Parvati said, no, he's puffed up. I already know he's puffed up. And he thinks I'm the best. Mother Parvati said 100%. And plus, he doesn't deserve the shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet also. He's worshipped by all saintly people because he's impotent. See, by seeing action, judging the intention is the most horrible thing one can do in one's spiritual life. To make one's life total mess, just keep on doubting the intention of the people by judging their action. अरे एक्शन देखा ना, जाके पूछो ना उसने क्या किया, क्यों किया, क्या लिखा. आपको एसएमएस व्हाट्सएप भी कर दिया तो पूछ लो ना, ब्रो जी क्या मतलब क्या है इसका, क्यों लिखा है, पूछ लो. इवन इफ इट हैज मेड अस हैप्पी और इट हैज मेड अस हर्ट, बट बेस्ट इज टू आस्क द पर्सन. उसको नहीं पूछेंगे, चार लोगों को दिखा के देखो क्या मैसेज आया, देखा क्या, मतलब क्या है इसका, मतलब क्या है वो, मतलब देखने वाले को पता है ना. मतलब उसको क्या पता है दूसरे वाले को, लेकिन we get caught up too much into that. Just, I mean, we'll talk to 100 people rather than talking to the person to whom the thing is concerned. मदर पार्वती से पूछ लेते हैं, चित्रकेतु इधर आओ, क्यों बोला ऐसा, हंसा क्यों मेरे पति पर, क्या समझ के देखा? He could have clarified, my dear mother, and no intention like that and nothing like that. The story would have ended, but नहीं. Mother Parvati also jumped on conclusion. ये impudent है, इसको कभी भगवान का शरण नहीं मिलेगा, ये पूरा proud है, he thinks he is the best. So like that she judged. So don't do this. Don't judge the intention by seeing the action. That's the worst thing we can do in our spiritual life, because it makes our life very complicated and it makes us offensive towards the devotee. If a devotee thinks he is very much advanced in devotion service, he is considered puffed up and unfit to sit beneath the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Again, this instruction of Lord Chaitanya is applicable. दूसरी बार प्रभुपाद quote कर रहे हैं, चरणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तने सदा. Unless one is humble and meek, one cannot qualify to sit at the lotus feet of the Lord. एक और जगह लिखा है, unless one is humble and meek. कहाँ लिखा है बताओ? प्रहलाद महाराज का पहला ही प्रेयर में लिखा है. Unless one is humble and meek, one cannot enter into the kingdom of God, to that effect. So this was a common thing. तृणादपि सुनिचे ना is the gateway. ये घुसने का एंट्री डोर है. इससे पहले जो कुछ भी है वो एंट्री डोर में घुसने के लिए तैयारी है. जैसे जैसे टोल नाका होता है ना, टोल नाका तक भी जाना पड़ेगा ना, यहाँ से तलेगांव जाना पड़ेगा टोल नाका के लिए भी. तो अनलेस ए पर्सन बिकम डिटरमाइंड कि मुझे ये 4 क्वालिटी कल्टिवेट करने ही है, दिस इज द क्वालिटीज बाय व्हिच आई लिव, वो शुद्ध भक्ति का जो भी क्लेशाग्नि सुबदा ये सब चीजें ड्रीम में रहेगा, ये कभी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होगा, बिकॉज दिस वर्स इज द फाउंडेशन ऑफ प्रैक्टिसिंग प्योर डिवोशन सर्विस. अनलेस वन फोकसेस ऑन दीज एस्पेक्ट्स, वन विल नॉट बी एबल टू टेस्ट ट्रू भक्ति. So what all we do is preparation. ठीक है, हम लोग सीख रहे हैं. सेक्रेट क्या है वो, नेकलेस वैष्णव का दिया ना इसी के ऊपर एक लेक्चर है ना, 4 लेक्चर है इसके. सेक्रेट नेकलेस. So this is very very vital. Why our acharyas are secret necklace. Acharyas are emphasizing on this so much. And Prabhupada, recently I was hearing one lecture on Ishopanishad. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada says, this is natural. This is natural. One doesn't have to artificially practice. This is natural for anyone who has understood the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's word, as it is unquoted. Natural for someone who has understood. Why? Because the spirit soul is insignificant. So by knowing the nature of the soul, these qualities will automatically come into practice. Like that he says. So let's go further. Now comes the climax words. Atah papi yasim yonim asurim yahi durmate yateha bhuyo mahatam न करता पुत्र kilvisham. अभी पुत्र बन गया हूँ. After being angry. Yes, please read. Translation.
O impotent one, my dear son, now take birth in a low, sinful family of demons, so that you will not commit such an offense again towards exalted saintly person in this world.
Durmate, impudent one. Putraka, you are son also. You are rascal son. You are impudent son, like that the meaning. You see the mix of emotions. Parvati is also mixed. Impudent also, son also, both. So I am giving you curse out of compassion so that you will never do this mistake again. Same mood was there with mother Yashoda. When she was trying to bind Krishna, the mood was, I'll bind you so that you will learn a good lesson and you will not do this kind of mischief again. And Prabhupada, that's why he quotes here. One should be very careful not to commit offense at the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, of whom Lord Shiva is best. And then Hathi Mata, elephant offense. One should therefore be very careful not to commit offense at the lotus feet of Vaishnava. Mother Parvati justified in punishing Chitraketu for Chitraketu impudently criticized the Supreme Father Mahadev, who is the father of the living entities conditioned within the material world. Durga is called Mother, Lord Shiva is called Father. Pure Vaishnava should be very careful to engage in a specific duty without criticizing others. This is the safest position. This we can put in ashram in a big letters, or if not in ashram, at least our locker and our room. This is a golden statement. A pure Vaishnava should be very careful to engage in a specific duty without criticizing others. आपको जो बोला है वो आप करो, दुनिया का ठेका मत लो, ठेकेदार मत बनो. यूनियन लीडर मत बनो, लॉयर मत बनो, ये भक्ति में हानिकारक है। हम लोग बन जाते हैं सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड लॉयर, सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड यूनियन लीडर, सेल्फ अपॉइंटेड. You can, I mean, if one has that humility, one can represent others, there's no problem. But that requires a lot of humility to represent that. Otherwise, we will take one side and we will advocate that. If we have that maturity, that we can take the concern of one person and hear the other side also, and then judge it and then convince or do that. That is the job of ombudsman. It's a full training. There's the ombudsman training. But oftentimes we don't become ombudsman. Ombudsman is a full training. When you hear both the side, what happens? We hear one side and we get convinced of this side, and then we take more of an advocate role. ये सही है, ये गलत है, or a judge role. Because this is community living. In community living, these kind of dynamics will happen, and this kind of behavior will make us stuck up in the spiritual life. It will not allow us to relish the spiritual life. So engage in specific duty. Anything is there with you, go to the right person and ask. Anything is there with another person, tell him to go to the right person and ask. He can't go to the right person, you take him to the right person and go. He can't go himself, he can't go with you. You take his concern, express to the right person the right way and get back to him. बस और कुछ नहीं है उसके बीच में. It has to be, loop has to be closed with the person to whom the thing is concerned about. If you don't go to that person, everything else in between is prajalpa, wastage of time and potentially offensive. Because nobody else can help ना. भाई जिसने जो किया उसी से पूछना पड़ेगा, क्यों किया, कैसे किया, कब किया, किस मतलब से किया. Otherwise it will become very complicated. Speculation चलता रहेगा फिर उसमें. One should read the Prajalpa section in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's article, Bhaktyalok, very carefully. He says the greatest impediment for a sadhaka is Prajalpa. Jiva, na? Today morning somebody was asking, Jiva should be taste or Prajalpa. Some of you there in the class? Whether Jiva should be controlled for eating or this. Rupa Goswami, what is the first verse of Nectar of Instruction says? Vacho Vegam. First Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam, Jivva Vegam. Both are there. They are separated. Vacho Vegam, Jivva Vegam. Both have to be controlled, but simultaneously possible. Not one after another, simultaneously. Because Vacho Vegam is very sharp. So, Chitraketu was undoubtedly a Vaishnava. He might have been surprised that Parvati had cursed him. Therefore, the goddess Parvati addressed him as Putra or son. Everyone is the son of Mother Durga, but she is not an ordinary mother. As soon as there is some small discrepancy in a demon's behavior, Mother Durga immediately punishes the demon so that he may come to his senses. Devi Asha Gunamayi. To surrender to Krishna means to surrender to his devotees also. For no one can be a proper servant of Krishna unless he is a proper servant of a devotee. Often repeated theme. Shadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paishikeva. Without serving a servant of Krishna, one cannot be elevated to become being a servant of Krishna himself. Therefore, Mother Parvati spoke to Chitraketu exactly like a mother who says to her naughty child, "My dear son, I am punishing you so that you won't do anything like this again." This tendency of a mother to punish her child is found even in Mother Yashoda, who became the mother of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mother Yashoda punished Krishna by binding him and showing him a stick. Thus, it is duty of a mother to chastise her beloved son, even in the case of the Supreme Lord. It is understood that Mother Durga was justified in punishing Chitraketu. This punishment was a boon to Chitraketu because after taking birth as the demon Vritrasur, he was promoted directly to Vaikuntha Loka. So, two scenes are over, two scenes are remaining. We will try to cover it today. And if it get covered today, then tomorrow only we may conclude everything, or maximum day after tomorrow. Maximum, not too long. In between prayers come, na? Prayers take longer time. The storyline goes faster. So there are 4 total scenes in this narration. One is Chitraketu Maharaj addressing Lord Shiva, laughing. Then Parvati, Mother Parvati retaliating that. Then now Chitraketu will respond to that. This is brilliant how he responds to that. What is his consciousness, how he responds to that, what has come to him. And then Lord Shiva as a cheerleader, as a witness. Bolo, bolo, bolo. But yeah, then he will cheer it up and he will clarify that. So Lord Shiva will glorify Chitraketu Maharaj at the end. And that's how the chapter will conclude. But it's filled with many practical lessons. The more we meditate on this and the psychology of the characters working here, we can learn many, many valuable things from this incident. So thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. So we have almost 15 minutes of break for Gayatri. I'll go for taking darshan. I'll chant Gayatri and then come back. Till so we saw in this pastime so far, Maharaj Chitraketu in a way laughed loudly and commented at the situation what he was saying in front of him, of Lord Shiva sitting in the assembly of the sages with Mother Parvati on his lap. And he glorified Lord Shiva for being the guru of all living entities, being the knower of religious principles, being Jatadhari, Tejatapaha, being having Jata and performing severe austerities. At the same time, he said that you are showing the behavior as if you are a common man. Not that you are a common man, as if. So there are many perspectives given by Acharyas why Chitraketu Maharaj did that, whether he should have done it or not done it, which are varying, which are contradictory at times. Just like in Bhagavad Gita also, Prabhupada in two purports, just one after another he writes. In one he writes that Arjuna was very compassionate, and not only he had concern for his soldiers, he also had concern and compassion for the soldiers on the other side. So he, on one hand, he glorified the compassionate nature of Arjuna. Immediately the next paragraph says that Krishna is asking Arjuna to give us his weak-heartedness. Arjuna was weak-hearted. He was attached. So two purports, one after another, contradictory nature of Arjuna for not fighting, that has been explained. So like this, there are multiple moods which devotees and acharyas, exhibit and explain in doing a particular thing. And this nature, when you want to have just one thing, oneness in everything, one person deals same way with everyone else, that's a symptom of Nirvisheshvad. No variety. People have variety. People, even if they have 10 friends with 10 friends, each one of them, they will behave differently. That is personality. But we want that one person, like a machine, he should deal with each one in a same way only. That's not possible because that's not what the reality is. Krishna himself will deal in 5 rasas, same person with different cadre of devotees, he deals differently. That is variety. Within each rasa, he deals with each devotee in a different way. With each cow, he deals differently. Each gopa, he deals differently. Each gopi, he deals differently. So that is variety. So similarly, multiple reasons have been quoted Chitraketu Maharaj doing. And then Parvati also. Mother Parvati, whether became very angry or somewhat angry or she was compassionate, all three are given. All three moods are there in her. And now Sukadeva Goswami, after the whole incident, before telling us how Chitraketu Maharaj responded to this, he is now giving a description of the situation. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Sapta Chitraketur Vimanad Avaruyasa Prasadayam Asasatim Murdna Namrena Bharata.
Sri Sukadeva Swami continued, My dear King Parikshit, when Chitraketu was cursed by Parvati, he descended from this airplane, bowed before her with great humility, and pleased her completely.
So although Mother Parvati is angry, but Chitraketu Maharaj is not angry. Although she has cursed him, but he is not in a mood to take revenge or counter curse. So he's showing a very different behavior, and that's what is worth learning from the entire pastime. This is something most important for us, worthy of learning. When he was cursed, he descended, he took a lower position. Then he bowed before her, he paid her respect. She has cursed, and he is showing respect with great humility and pleased her completely. So he showed a very genuine, humble behavior, and now he will speak in very genuine, humble words. From verse 17 for next few verses. Chitraketur uvacha pratigranami te shapam atmano anjalinambike dever martyaya yat proktam purvadishtami tasya tat. आप भी
Chitraketu,
हैं? अभी है? हाँ, आप हैं बैच में हैं? हाँ.
Chitraketu said, My dear mother, with my own hands folded together, I accept the curse upon me. I do not mind the curse, for happiness and distress are given by the demigods as a result of one's past deeds.
Very significant. He took a humble role, although he's cursed, he took a humble role. He did not got agitated, he did not rebel, he did not become upset, angry, shouted, yelled, counter cursed. He folded his hands, offered respect, and then first thing he said, I accept the curse upon me. He didn't say, अरे ये गलत कर दिया, ये ऐसा नहीं था, समझने का प्रयास करो. First he specified, I accept the curse. Whatever you said, let it come true. You be happy. Whatever you say will happen. And then he did not say, I accept the curse, but you are the cause of that curse. No, he said, I do not mind the curse. Why? Because even you are not the cause of my curse. For happiness and distress are given by the demigod as a result of one's own misdeed. So don't feel bad that you have cursed me. You don't need to even feel that. I accept the curse you gave me, and I don't want you to even feel bad that you cursed me. Sometimes when we are weak, and something happened, we accept because we do not have the power to oppose it anyway. But heart of the heart, we pray that, my dear Lord, he should get a reciprocation for that. What he has done to an innocent person, he should experience that. And if something really bad happens, then we may not say it, but then we may really feel, happiness of a sadist. Sadist means one who derives happiness in other distress. Compassion means paradukha dukhi. Sadist means paradukha sukhi. Very difficult. If somebody hurts us, our mind naturally feels some kind of relief, if not a great happiness and ecstasy in seeing that that person is also suffering in some way. It's very common, unless one is a very consciously advancing devotee. This is the default setting. We may not say because we don't have the power to rebel, but we desire that something happen. Something comes to him also. Every action has a reaction. So whatever action is done to us, he should get a reaction from somewhere. Here, Chitraketu Maharaj is so refined. He says, I accept the curse, and he says, I don't even hold you as the person responsible for cursing me. I don't even blame you to curse me, because happiness and distress are resolved by the demigods. They've arranged it. You have become an instrument. So be relaxed. Don't feel bad that you cursed me. I accept the curse. I don't want you to even feel bad about it. It's not so easy. Early days, we used to take baths and train by just jumping down in the hose pipe and all that. No bathroom, because bathroom is more contaminating than bathing. I don't know what to do with that. So once I took bath and train, I started moving earlier than what was scheduled to 10 minutes. I had to come up with gamcha. The water was like kind of coming in that passage. And one person got really wild. I'm like, what do I do then? And then TT came and he had some ticket ka kuch issue tha uska. TT was shouting, nikal dunga train se, kar dunga, itna paisa do. So that kind of satisfaction there. इसने मेरे को डांटा ना, इसको मिल रहा है अपना, ना कोटा इसको मिल रहा है, मुझसे नहीं मिला दूसरे से मिला. So like that, when we get something from someone, we may not tell them at face, we may not, shout at them back, but in the heart we harbor the feeling that, they should also feel some pain, some suffering, some hurt. And this indicates the degree of distance or degree of what you can say, gap we have from being a true Vaishnava. A true Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. Whether that person is given him misery or not, suffering or not, doesn't matter for him. That's what we see in the pages of Bhagavatam, pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The people who are trying to hurt a person, harm a person, even murder a person, the same person is praying for them, ready to die for them, ready to give all his pious credits for saving that person. This is easier to say, easier to know, but very difficult to follow, because mind and heart have a setting, and it's not the intelligence can change the setting. Intellectually you may know things, but heart feels, and intelligence thinks. Feelings are powerful than thinking. So anyhow, by repeating, by sharing, I'm just learning myself. Otherwise, I'm not a person who's anywhere close to that, but this is what my Vaishnava is like. King Chitra, since Chandraketu was a devotee of the Lord, he was not at all disturbed by the curse of Mother Parvati. He knew well, one suffer or enjoy the result of one's past deed as ordained by Deva Netra, Karmana Deva Netrena. He knew that he had not committed any offense at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva or the goddess Parvati. Yet he had been punished. And this meant that the punishment had been ordained and the king did not mind it. A devotee is naturally so humble and meek that he accepts any condition of life as a blessing from the Lord. Satya Anukampam Susamikshamana. This is another verse. Tadadapi suni चाहिए ना? Tatya Anukampam Susamikshamana. Another verse, which is like गाड़ी चलाना है तो दो पहिए तो चाहिए कम से कम. एक पहिए पे कुछ चलता है? चलता है कुछ तो एक सर्कस सर्कस तो नहीं करना. सर्कस में कहीं जाता नहीं है ना, वो शो बटल हो जाता है. शो है वो, हमको शो नहीं करना है, हमको ग्रो करना है. We don't have to show off, we have to grow up. So दो पहिया तो लगता है कम से कम, तो ये दो श्लोक तो लगेंगे कम से कम अगर चलना है तो. एक ही जगह खड़े रखना है गाड़ी को तो पहिया ही नहीं चाहिए, जरूरत ही नहीं है. आजकल तो इसमें भी पहिया है. इसमें पहिया है, 4 पहिए लगे हुए इसमें भी. चेयर में भी पहिया है, 4 वाला. सब चीज पहिए पर है आजकल. और टेम्पल हॉल में सब कपबोर्ड में पहिए है. व्यासासन में व्यासासन पहिया है. व्यासासन में पहिया है. So, दो पहिया लगता है कम से कम. दो लोग पे तो मेडिटेशन करना पड़ेगा अगर चलाना है गाड़ी तो. नहीं तो पंक्चर होकर बैठा रहेगा वहीं पे. पैडल घूमता रहेगा. चेन उतरने के बाद जैसे पैडल घूमता रहता है ना, साइकिल चलाई है ना, चेन उतर जाती है कभी कभी. पैडल तो घूमता है फिर भी, लेकिन अब वो क्या पहियों को ट्रांसफर नहीं कर रहे. अब साइकिल आगे नहीं बढ़ेगी. तो ऐसे क्या है कि अपना चेन तो उतर गया फिर और पहिया पैडल मार रहे, घंटी बजा रहे, लेकिन गाड़ी आगे नहीं बढ़ेगी. ये दो श्लोकों पे मनन करना बहुत जरूरी है. A devotee always accepts punishment from anyone, not only from someone, from anyone as the mercy of the Lord. If one lives in this conception of life, he sees whatever reverses occur due to his past misdeeds, and therefore he never accuses anyone. Never accuses. What comes in our life, people have become instrument, not the cause. There's a difference. Instrument and cause are different. On the contrary, he becomes increasingly attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of his being purified by suffering. Suffering, therefore, is also a process of purification. Like doctor, go to hospital. You don't go to hospital expecting some nice massage and eating some malpua, rabdi or puran puli. You go to hospital to know that लगने वाला है, इंजेक्शन लगने वाला है, सलाइन लगने वाला है, तो ट्यूब लगने वाले हैं. We go to hospital with that only. It's a place of suffering in one sense, but that suffering is for becoming cured. Suffering is also a process of purification. Still, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this connection that one who has developed Krishna consciousness and who exists in love with Krishna is no longer subjected to suffering and happiness under the laws of karma. Therefore, he is beyond karma. The Brahma Samhita says, Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. The devotee is free from the reactions of his karma because he has taken to devotion service. Same principle confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sagunan samasityatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in devotion service has already been freed from the reaction of material karma. Thus he immediately become Brahma Bhuta. This is also expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Chiyante chasya karmani. Before attaining the stage of love, one becomes free from all the result of karma. So what it says, when you engage in devotion service, you become free from karma. But engaging in devotion service means to follow Chanadapi Sunichana and Tatyanukampam. That is the meaning. ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं मैं devotion service कैसे भी कुछ भी करूंगा and then I'll become free. No. Being freed from karma means you don't mind. You understand karma is Lord's way of purifying you. Then what karma will work? Karma works. Karma works in the sense situations in life come, good and bad apparently. But the devotee sees them only for his benefit. That's the meaning of he becomes beyond karma. ऐसा नहीं कर्म नहीं आता है मतलब हमको लगे कर्म नहीं आता है मतलब हमेशा अच्छा रहता है लाइफ. नहीं, लाइफ में अप डाउन होते रहते हैं. बट डिवोटी डजंट टेक इट इज कमिंग आउट ऑफ कर्मा. ही सेज इट इज कमिंग आउट ऑफ द लॉर्ड्स मर्सी अपॉन मी. इट इज कमिंग बिकॉज लॉर्ड वांट टू प्यूरिफाई मी एंड ब्रिंग मी क्लोजर टू हिम. दैट्स व्हाई कर्मा डजंट अफेक्ट. सिचुएशन अप्स एंड डाउन्स आता है, हर एक की लाइफ में आता है. सन्यासी की लाइफ में आता है, ब्रह्मचारी की लाइफ में आता है, गृहस्थ की लाइफ में आता है, सबकी लाइफ में आता है. सो सिचुएशंस ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड डू नॉट चेंज, बट आवर perception of those situations change. The mood in which we accept those situations change. And that's why it says devotee is beyond karma. Right? And doctrinally Prabhupada says that suffering, whatever is supposed to come, Krishna reduces it. But suffering does come. And devotee can experience in the heart. ये जो आया है ना, टोकन ही आया है. मुझे पता है कितना आ सकता था, कितना कुछ हो सकता था. जो आया है, टोकन ही आया है. Other people will say, तुमको क्या पता है कितना आने वाला था, तुम कैसे बोल सकते हो, ये तुम्हारा बहम है, तुम्हारा imagination है. No. Not imagination. Devotee can experience in the heart convincingly. ये ऐसा है, मैं भक्ति कर रहा हूँ, इसलिए मेरा लाइफ ऐसा चल रहा है. यदि प्रभुपाद ना हो तो तबे की हो तो एक्सपीरियंस कर सकता है। अगर भक्ति में नहीं होता मैं, तो मैं देख रहा हूँ ना, मेरा भाई बहन अंकल आंटी सिस्टर सब किधर जा रहे हैं, अपने लाइफ कितना डिफरेंट होता था। हमको ऐसा थोड़ी कि कहीं डिसेंडेंट परसेंट, अपना भी ऐसे होता था। हम कौन से अलग? भाई अब भाई की वाइफ का और मदर का झगड़ा चल रहा है तो हमारी वाइफ से झगड़ा होता ही था ना। हम ही कौन से अलग है कि ऐसा हम लोग नहीं। भाई का जॉब छूट गया, वो बेचारा परेशान, तो अपना भी कुछ होता था वैसे। हम लोग को अलग थोड़ी है, हम तो पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड ही है ना। So like that, a person can understand. So practicing devotion service means to have that consciousness that everything is ordained by the Lord. And that consciousness, anyway, the karma or no karma, but a devotee takes shelter of the Lord and utilizes that opportunity, that situation to come closer to the Lord. The Lord is very kind and affectionate toward his devotees, and therefore a devotee in any condition is not subjected to the results of karma. Devotee never aspire for the heavenly planet. Heavenly planet, liberation, hell are not different for a devotee, for it does not discriminate between different positions in the मेटल वर्ल्ड। ये डिवोटी है, उसको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता। अगर कर्मा नहीं है तो हेल जाने का क्वेश्चन कहाँ आता है, सफरिंग का क्वेश्चन कहाँ आता है? देन वेयर इज द क्वेश्चन ऑफ दैट आई विल टेक सफरिंग एज बेनेडिक्शन। सो कॉन्शियसनेस चेंजेस एंड डिवोटी मीन्स टू हैव ए डिफरेंट कॉन्शियस। टू हैव कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस मीन्स टू बी ए डिवोटी। टू बी कॉन्शियस ऑफ कृष्णा मीन्स टू बी ए डिवोटी। A devotee is always eager to return home back to Godhead and remain there as the Lord's associate. This ambition becomes increasingly fervent in his heart and therefore he does not care about material changes in his life. Krishna eka sharanam. Krishna, I am yours. Krishna तुम्हाके होए यदि बोले एक बार, मायाबद्ध छूटे कृष्ण तारे करे पार. Something like that is there, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna तुम्हाके होए. A devotee once says, my dear Lord, I am yours. Krishna releases him from Maya. Sakradeva prapanno yam tavasmi iti yachate. Tavasmi, I am yours, that one says heartily. तो बचा क्या फिर? कर्मा वर्मा क्या बचा फिर? तवास्मी यति याचते, मैंने डिवोटी एक्सेप्ट जीव कृष्ण दास, यही विश्वास कर ले तो और दुख नहीं। सिचुएशन में तो दुख आएगा, आपको दुख एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होगा क्योंकि आपका कॉन्शियस बदल गया है। कर ले तो और दुख नहीं। So it talks about change of consciousness. Sometimes we feel that by doing anything, anyhow, anywhere, by wearing clothes, by keeping shikha, putting tilak, we have become devotee. Why suffering is coming now? इतना भाग में बोला है, कर्मा चला जाता है, चला जाता है, सफरिंग क्यों आ रहा है? So devotee doesn't mind what comes in his life. Suffering may come from external point of view. Others will take it as suffering. Devotee will say it's mercy of the Lord. That's how the system functions. Change तो आएगा ही यार, बड़े बड़े लोगों की लाइफ में आ रहा है, बड़े बड़े महाराजाओं को कैंसर हो रहा है, एक्सीडेंट हो जाते हैं, बीमारी हो जाती है, तो हम कौन? इतना सेवा करने के बाद सब कुछ करने का तो होता है, लेकिन the thing is not to see what happens to them. The thing is how do they respond to that situation? How do they continue their service in that situation? That is to be seen. Kadam Kanan Maharaj, His Holiness, he got cancer first time, he went for treatment, and the next time it came back, he said, now it's not going to recover. No medicines. Came in Kartik, every day you're taking people for yatra with cancer. So much pain, suffering, every day yatra, every day night kirtan, and then the pain increased too much, then he retired in seclusion with very limited devotees. And that's all. He every day chanted 16 rounds. He wrote a book which will be distributed after he leaves. And he planned everything after his departure. Who will carry my palanquin? Where will be samadhi? What will be the menu of the feast? What will be cooked after that? Including lemon juice. वो भी बोले गर्मी है, lemon juice होना चाहिए. तो क्या आदमी? Anybody can do that. Is it suffering for him? He knows he's going to die, but he's others will feel, hey, देखो तुम्हारा महाराज को कैंसर हो गया. Prabhupada was saying yesterday, I was hearing that Karmis will say that, but it's different. And he gave that famous analogy. It's like the mouth of the cat is same. Death is same. But who is undergoing death makes a difference. Who is in that mouth, whether the rat or the kitten? We are the kitten, you are the rat. So experience is different. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Maharaj Chitraketu being cursed by Parvati should be considered as the mercy of the Lord. The Lord wanted Chitraketu to return to Godhead as soon as possible, and therefore he terminated all the reactions in his past deeds. Acting through the heart of Parvati, the Lord who situated in everyone's heart cursed Chitraketu in order to end all his material reactions. Thus Chitraketu became Vritrasura in the next life and returned home back to Godhead. The Lord acted. That is the beauty, that is advancement. To understand Krishna is operating in all situations, through all people, through all situations, in all different ways. That gives one shelter because one is not outside the radar of Krishna's grace. But if we take something without Krishna, then that is very fearful situation. And this is beautiful verse. worth memorizing, meditating. Let's recite it line by line. Samsara chakra etasmin jantur ajnana mohitah brahmyan sukham cha dukkham cha bhunkte sarvatra sarvada.
Deluded by ignorance, the living entity wanders in the forest of this material world, enjoying the happiness and distress resulting from his past deeds, everywhere and at all times. Therefore, my dear mother, neither you nor I am to be blamed for this incident.
No blame. This game is such that everyone can play. Anytime one can play, day or night. Doesn't need Wi-Fi connection, doesn't need internet connection at all. Anyone can play anytime with any number of players and continue playing from wherever one has stopped. Continue playing forever, right? And that is a game called बोलो हाँ अरे डम शराड में तो एक्शन करके बोलना था मैं तो इतना बोल दिया अभी तो बोलो द गेम ऑफ कौन सा गेम द ब्लेम गेम correct anytime you can play you don't need to log in you don't need to go to common room playground anywhere you can play with any number of players you can continue to play life after life without winning or losing right and it goes on because it's not my invention lecture by Jagopal Prabhu the blame game you can hear that terrific lecture wonderful lecture so neither you nor me why samsara chakra etasmin this samsara chakra is moving jantur ajnana mohita and jantu is an ajnana and he is a mohita is going diluted brahman sukham cha dukkham cha mukta sarvata sarvada at all situation all places it's just relishing the happiness and distress of one's own activities just like the Ferris wheel London Bridge you've seen na Carthage if you go गए Carthage क्यों नहीं गए वहीं ज्यादा घूमता लगता है मुझे Carthage नहीं गया कोई अभी फिलहाल गए देखा है ना वो सर्कस झूला तो वो संसार चक्र एथस में है उसको कुछ करना नहीं पड़ता उसको बटन दबाए तो फिर वो घूमना शुरू होता है धीरे धीरे फिर फास्ट हो जाता है ऊपर जाते तो अच्छा लगता है नीचे आते तो जान अटक जाते है कि नहीं सेम मेटल पॉइंट ऊपर जाना मतलब सुख का अनुभव हो रहा है अच्छा अच्छा मतलब नीचे आ रहे मतलब दुख दोष दुख व्हाट इज दैट जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि प्रॉब्लम्स so that's why neither you to blame neither I to blamed so all the doings of mental nature prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasha ahankara gunatma kartamiti actually a conditioned soul is completely under the control of mental nature wandering here and there always and everywhere is subjected to the result of his past deed this is carried out by laws of nature but one foolishly thinks himself of the doer and which in fact is not to get freed from the karma chakra one should take to bhakti marg devotional service of Krishna that is the only remedy sarva dharman pratyacha mamikam नैवात्मान परश्चापि कर्ताश्चात् सुख दुःखयो कर्तारं मन्यते त्राज्ञम् आत्मानं परम एव च
In this material world, neither the living entity himself nor others, friends and enemies, are the cause of material happiness and distress. But because of gross ignorance, the living entity thinks that he and others are the cause.
So he's again and again trying to establish the point that my dear mother, don't feel bad, you are not the cause. Because she may feel bad, I curse. She may feel she is the doer. No, no. Living entity, nor his enemy or friends are the cause of mental happiness and distress. Out of ignorance, a living entity think like that. In this word, the word agya is very significant. The material world, all living entities are agya, ignorant to different degrees. Ignorance continues very strongly in the mode of ignorance presented by material nature. One must therefore promote himself to the stage of goodness through his character and behavior, and then gradually come to the transcendental platform or adokshaja, platform in which he relishes both his position and the position of others. So one should promote himself to the stage of goodness through his character and behavior. This is something doable. We can raise ourselves to the mode of goodness by our character and behavior. Prabhupada also in the introduction to Nectar of Instruction, he writes that these are the preliminary instruction which will lead the sadhaka to come to the mode of goodness. And then how to make further progress will be revealed. like that he says. So mode of goodness, although it is not our goal at the end of it, but it is a very strong means to rise to the goal. Just like with the example, to board a plane, one has to go to airport so that one can do the formalities and board the plane. So being at airport is not the goal, but reaching airport to fly from there is the goal. We don't remain at airport forever. So being in goodness is not the ultimate goal, but to cultivate goodness by our character and behavior that help us then to realize our position and rise to pure goodness. Everything done under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the process by which the result of action are ordained is called niyatam, always working. And this is another beautiful verse, line by line. Guna pravaha etasmin. कह शाप कोनो अनुग्रह क स्वर्ग नरको वा किम सुखम दुखम एव वा.
This material world resembles the waves of a constantly flowing river. Therefore, what is a curse and what is a favor? What are the heavenly planets and what are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness and what is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect.
Agam upayano anityas. Anityasah ashashvatam. Constant words Krishna uses in Bhagavad Gita because the knowledge of the temporary nature of this world can give us serious detachment from this world. Attachment has a nature to think that things are forever. But when we realize, understand by contemplation, by discussion, by prayer that things are temporary, then they lose meaning. How many times people in India fight for a seat in the train? रुमाल डाल देते हैं, डाल दो. हाँ, मेरा seat है, इधर बैठो. How long they remain on the seat? For some time, 1 hour, 2 hour, what is the journey time? They fight for that. Politicians fight for election, spend crore rupees for getting a seat, getting elected. How long do they live in that seat? People who spend crores of rupees for becoming engineer or doctor these days, how long does that position last? People get married, investing or rather spending crores of rupees sometimes, depending on their capacity. How long? Even if they last forever, 20, 25 years. So seeing the temporary nature of this world and the situation of this world can actually help us to become detached from the world and attached to the Lord. That is permanent. So it's very beautiful verse. Guna pravaha etasmin. The current of the modes of material nature is flowing. It's like the river is flowing in different waves and whirlpools are formed. But how long do they last? Sometimes you sit at a river and see so many beautiful patterns, but within seconds they change. New patterns come up. Kashapa, what is the curse here? Kono anugraha, what is the benediction? Both are temporary. Kaswargo narako ko. This is rotation. Kim sukha dukkham evava. Neither distress and happiness. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Miche mayar vashe, yacha bheshe, khacha hu budu bhai. Jiva Krishna das, ei vishwas, karle to aur dukha. The living entity tries to understand is the eternal servant of Krishna, there will no longer be misery for him. Krishna wants us to give up all other engagements, surrender unto him. If we do so, where will be the cause and effect of the material world? Be. There is nothing like cause and effect for the surrendered soul, which Srila Vishwanath Thakur says in this regard that being put into the material world is like being thrown into a mine of salt. Namak ka khan, nahi to koile ka bhi khan hota hai. If one falls into a mine of salt, he tastes only salt and wherever he goes. Similarly, this material world is full of miseries. The so-called temporary happiness of this world is also misery, but in ignorance we cannot understand. This is the actual position. When one comes to the senses, when he becomes Krishna conscious, he is no longer concerned with the various conditions of this material world. He is not concerned with happiness or distress, curses or favors, or heavenly or hellish planet. He sees no distinction between them. This is the consciousness of a devotee. For him, what matters is, am I trying to love Krishna? Am I trying to serve Krishna? Am I trying to please Krishna? That's all. बाकी क्या situation है, क्या है, आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे, that's very different. So that is the consciousness. We become so concerned, overwhelmingly concerned about coming close to Krishna, pleasing Krishna, that whatever else happens in this world becomes a very insignificant part of our, entire functioning. That is the true platform Krishna consciousness. Ultimately, it's between Krishna and us. And the more we become Bahirmukha, more we become too much aware of the things and situations and politics and economics of this world, more we become distressed. Sada samudvigna dhiya asasgraha. Sada samudvigna. Every time the mind is totally distressed. Some udvigna. Sampurna rupena udvigna. Completely distressed. Why? Sada samudvigna dhiya. The intelligence is asasgraha. The intelligence is holding on to the asasgraha, the temporary thing. That will go distressed because temporary things will go away with the effect of time, then the intelligence will disturb. So, yeah. Ekah srijanti bhutani bhagavan atmaya esham bandham cha moksham cha sukham dukham cha nishkalah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, unaffected by the conditions of the material world. He creates all the conditioned souls by his own personal potency. Because of being contaminated by the material energy, the living entity is put into ignorance and thus into different conditions of bondage. Sometimes by knowledge, the living entity is given liberation. In Sattva Guna and Rajoguna, he is subjected to happiness and distress.
So, Supreme Person Godhead, he creates the conditioned soul by his own personal potency. So, they are Sachidananda originally, but then they become contaminated by the material energy. That means the three subtle element and five gross element, they cover it over. And then the modes of material nature start affecting them. So, in the previous verse, we talked about ko sukham, dukham, sukha, dukkha, and benediction and curse, like that. The question may be raised why the living entities are situated in different conditions. Who has arranged this? Answer is that it has been done by the Supreme Personality Godhead without anyone's help. The Lord has his own energies, Parashya Shaktir Vivideva Shruyate. And one of them, namely the external energy, creates the material world and the varieties of happiness and distress for the conditioned souls under the supervision of the Lord. So Lord has external energy, internal energy, and marginal energy. The material world consists of three modes of material nature: Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. By Sattva Guna, Lord maintains; Rajoguna, he creates; Tamoguna, he annihilates. After the varieties of living entities are created, they are subjected to happiness and distress according to their association. In Sattva Guna, there is happiness, Sukham and Jnanam. Rajoguna, there is distress because there is Ichcha, what is that? Sangha and Trishna. Sangha and Tamoguna, there is no sense of what, Alas and Pramad, Nidra Alasya Pramad. न तस्य कश्चित् दैताय प्रतीपो न ज्ञातिर्बन्धुर्न परो च न स्व समस्य सर्वत्र निरञ्जनस्य सुखेन रागः कुत एव रोषः.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally disposed towards all living entities. Therefore, no one is very dear to him, and no one is a great enemy for him. No one is his friend, and no one is his relative. Being unattached to the material world, he has no affection for so called happiness or hatred for so called distress. The two terms, happiness and distress, are relative. Since the Lord is always happy, for him there is no question of distress.
So one may say, oh, if the Lord has created living entity, and Lord has created the different situation of living entities through the external energy, through the three modes of mental nature, then does it mean that the Lord is biased? Because some living entities are happy in the same situation, some are distressed. So he clarifies, no. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally disposed toward all living entities. Therefore, no one is dear and no one is great enemy for him. No one friend, no one relative. Being unattached to the material world, he has no affection for the happiness and hatred of so-called distress. These are relative terms, happiness and distress. Because in one sense, the creation for Lord is appear like it is Mahavishnu's dream. The material creation is Mahavishnu's dream. So Lord knows that just like a person dreams and when he wakes up to reality, then the dream-like situation not there. In dream, whether the tiger is chasing a person or whether the person is becoming king. Both are temporary, right? So similarly, if we see, it's a longer dream of 60 or 80 years. What we achieve, what we don't achieve, what suffering and what happiness we go through, they're all temporary for this life. So that is why he's not attached to the happiness and suffering of the living entities. Let's go ahead. तथापि तशक्ति विसर्ग एषां सुखाय दुःखाय हिताय बन्धाय मोक्षाय च मृत्युजन्मनो शरीरिणां संसृतयेव कल्पते.
Although the Supreme Lord is unattached to our happiness and distress according to karma, and although no one is his enemy or favorite, he creates pious and impious activities through the agency of his material potency. Thus, for the continuation of the materialistic way of life, he creates happiness and distress, good fortune and bad, bondage and liberation, birth and death.
So he creates it, he creates these dualities, but he does not get caught up in the dualities himself. Created through his agency of material energy, but he is beyond it, right? Like sometime a person may create a playground. You see many green net wala playgrounds are there. People may come and play there, but then the owner is not disturbed by who wins and who loses. Although he is the one who created the playground. So similarly, the Lord arranges because metal nature is his energy. Even the metal elements are his energy. But how the jiva utilizes the free will and how he experiences so-called happiness and so-called distress. Both are so-called because they are not true to the nature of the soul. They are only applicable till the time the jiva awakens to its original pure nature of experiencing emotions in relation to the Supreme Lord. Till then, the jiva is experiencing emotion in relation to the mind and the body, and that duality persists. And that's why at the spiritual platform, everyone feels happy only serving Krishna. Unity is there. But here, people will find happiness in different things. Somebody will find happiness in playing, somebody is working, somebody is stealing, so many places. But the spiritual world, Krishna is the object of, Krishna is the object of service for everyone. They may serve differently, but it's the object. But here, happiness and distress are very related. That when Govardhan Lila happened, everyone felt happy, everyone could take darshan of the Lord. So their happiness and distress are all connected to the Lord. So they're united in that effort. But here, things are different. Same person comes, then people may undergo different emotions of seeing the same person because of their different connection with that person. So Lord creates it, but he's not a part of it. He's not implicated in that. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate doer of everything, Sarva Karana Karanam, he is not responsible for the happiness and distress of bondage and liberation of the conditioned souls. These are due to the result of the fruitive activities of living entities within this material world. By the order of a judge, one person is released from jail and another is imprisoned, but the judge is not responsible. He remains detached. For the distress and happiness of these different people is due to their own activities. And although the government is ultimately the supreme authority, the justice is administered by the departments of the government, and the government is not responsible for the individual judgment. Person done some crime, he will get punished. So the judiciary system, the police system is not responsible for his punishment. He himself, by his bad act, is responsible for his punishment. Therefore, the government is equal to all the citizens. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is neutral to everyone, but for the maintenance of the law and order, his supreme government, for the maintenance of law and order, his supreme government has various departments which control the activities of the living entity. Another example given in this regard is that lilies open or close because of the sunshine, and thus the bumblebees enjoy or suffer, but the sunshine and the sun globe are not responsible for the happiness and distress of the bumblebees. अतः प्रसादये न त्वां सापमोक्षाय भामिनी यन्मन्यसे हि असाधुकृतं मम तत् क्षमयतां सति.
O mother, you are now unnecessarily angry. But since all my happiness and distress are destined by my past activities, I do not plead to be excused or relieved from your curse. Although what I have said is not wrong, please let whatever you think is wrong be pardoned.
Yeah, here now there's the last verse he speaks, and he speaks beautifully. He says, my mother, you are unnecessarily angry because my happiness and distress came, you are not the cause of it, and neither I am pleading to be excused or relieved. But at the same time, I am confident I did not do anything purposefully wrong. I did not have bad intention. So I did not have bad intention. I am okay to receive what is gave. So please, still On the top of it, whatever you think is wrong, we pardon. From my perspective, I did not do anything wrong. But from your perspective, something went wrong. You perceived it wrongly. Something was wrong in me. So whatever you have thought of wrong in me, please pardon me for that. Being fully aware of how the result of one's karma accrue by the laws of nature, Chitraketu did not want to be released from Parvati's curse. Nonetheless, he wanted to satisfy her. He wanted to satisfy her because although his verdict was natural, she was displeased with him. As a matter of course, Maharaj Chitraketu begged pardon from Parvati. So he begged pardon that, okay, I had no bad intention, but still if you consider that some mistake or wrong thing happened, you pardon me for that part. So that's very safe. We are not saying that we are wrong, but we may not be wrong, but whatever we have done, it has affected someone in a different way, which was not our intention. Unintentionally also, if we have hurt someone, then it's better to take a humble position and say, Prabhu, it was not my intention, but whatever I did and in whatever way it hurt you, please forgive me for that and I'll be careful next time. I mean, it was not an intention. That person's nature is like that. He got hurt. So still, from a Western point of view, we just go and say, okay, it was not my intention, but it has hurt you. I'm very sorry for that. Please forgive me and I will take care. That doesn't mean, begging pardon doesn't mean that we are wrong. We can beg pardon because it pleases the other person. That's what purpose is. That as a matter of course, Maharaj Chitraketu begged pardon from Parvati. He did not want to release on Parvati's curse. He was sure that he has not done a mistake, but still he wanted to beg pardon from Mother Parvati to please her because he doesn't want to live in a strained relationship with anyone. You be pleased, and whatever you have given the curse, it will come true. Like Sheshuka Uvacha, Iti Prasade Girisho, Chitraketur Arindama, Jagam Suvimanena Pashyato Samayatostayo.
Sri Sukdev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, subduer of the enemy, after Chitraketu satisfied Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati, he boarded his airplane and left as they looked on. When Lord Shiva and Parvati saw that Chitraketu, although informed of the curse, was unafraid, they smiled, being fully astonished by his behavior.
They were astonishing. Astonishing, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati is not ordinary. Huh? They are quite experienced. They have seen everything around. But Chitraketu Maharaj, the way he accepted the curse and he was unafraid, he did not blame Mother Parvati. Prabhupada was right, he was actually powerful to even counteract the curse also. He could have stopped the curse or he could have given another curse to Mother Parvati. Not to any of them. Why? Because he felt that it is an arrangement of the Lord. So seeing the unseen hand of the Lord, seeing the unseen hand of the Lord is a very vital part of being Krishna conscious. All the time, it is not that everything will be seen in gross. Ye Bhagwan ka haath aaya, isne aisa kiya. No. The Lord's hand will work through devotees only. Somebody will come and say something, somebody will trouble in some way, somebody will, some changes will happen, those things will come. They are all coming by the arrangement plan of the Lord, sanction of the Lord. So one has to learn to see the unseen hand of the Lord through the interaction which one goes through in one's neighborhood and one's surroundings, and with the devotees close to him. So they were astonished, and now Lord Shiva will say, Tatastu Bhagavan Rudranim idam abravit devarshi datya siddhanam parshadhanam chashanvadam.
Thereafter, in the presence of the great sage Narada, the demons, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka and his personal associates, Lord Shiva, who is most powerful, spoke to his wife Parvati while they all listened.
So there was a pause in the class because the incident happened. आया बोला उधर से थोड़ा नोक झोंक हुआ चित्रकेतु महाराज spoke around 3 verses he spoke and Mother Parvati spoke 5 verses and Chitraketu Maharaj spoke in 7-8 verses. तो इतना सब हो रहा है और सब लोग देख रहे हैं इसने क्या बोला इसने क्या बोला इसने क्या बोला माहौल बिल्डअप हो गया है तो अभी in the presence of Narad Muni, demons, inhabitants of Siddhaloka, person associate, Lord Shiva was most powerful. He spoke to his wife who was sitting on the lap direct, but everyone is hearing. It was a conversation aloud. This is most special, the last part of it. Shri Rudra Vacha Drashtvati Asi Sushroni Harer Adbhut Karmana Mahatmyam Vritya Vrityanam Nispranam Mahatmanam.
Lord Shiva said, "My dear beautiful Parvati, have you seen the greatness of the Vaishnavas? Being servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, they are great souls and are not interested in any kind of material happiness."
What was addressing? Drashtvati Asi. देख लिया तुमने? Sushroni. Sushroni means beautiful one, beautiful Parvati. Harer Adbhut Karmana. Mahatmyam, greatness of Vritya Vrityanam, the servant of the servant. Because why? Because Chitraketu Maharaj was servant of servant in what way? Servant ही होगा ना? Servant of Narad Muni. He was servant of Narad Muni. Servant of Narad, Anand says, being served by Narad Muni, glorified, and Narad Muni servant of the servant. Nispranam, they have no ambition for sense gratification. Mahatman, that's why they're great souls. Lord Shiva, the husband of Parvati, told his wife, "My dear Parvati, you are very beautiful in your bodily features, certainly you are glorious, but I do not think you can compare with the beauty and glory of devotees who have become servant of the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Of course, Lord Shiva smiled when he joked with his wife in that way, for others cannot speak like that. The Supreme Lord Shiva continued, is always exalted in his activities, and here's another example of his wonderful influence over King Chitraketu, his devotee. Just see, although you cursed the king, he was not at all afraid or sorry. Rather, he offered respect to you, called you mother, and accepted your curse, thinking himself faulty. He did not say anything in retaliation. This is the excellence of a devotee. By mildly tolerating your curse, he has certainly accepted the glory of your beauty and your power to curse him. I can impartially judge that this devotee Chitraketu has defeated you, Lord Shiva is saying, and your excellence simply by becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. And then there's a third time in this section Prabhupada is quoting, as stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Trana-dapi dhunichena tarorapi saishtra. Just like a tree, a devotee can tolerate all kind of curses and reversals in life. This is the excellence of a devotee. Indirectly, Lord Shiva forbade Parvati to commit the mistake of cursing a devotee like Chitraketu. He indicated that although she was powerful, the king, without showing any power, had excelled her power by his tolerance. Tolerance of such power. Tolerated that. Now this famous verse. Narayana para sarve nakutashan vibyati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshina.
Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord.
These are Narayana para devotee. Parvati might have inquired how devotee becomes so exalted. Therefore, this was explained. They are Narayana para, simply dependent on Narayana. Vasudeva Parayana, Narayana Parayana. They do not mind reversing life because in the service of Narayana they have learned to tolerate whatever hardship there may be. Tomara sevaya dukha hoyato seito parama sukha. Seva sukha dukha parama sampada nashaya vidya dukha. They do not care whether they are in heaven or in hell. They simply engage in the service of the Lord. This is their excellence. Ankulena Krishnanushilanam. They are liberally engaged in the service of the Lord and therefore they are excellent. By using the word Vritya Vrityanam, Lord Shiva pointed out that although Chitraketu provided one example of tolerance and excellence, all the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord as eternal servants are glorious. They have no eagerness to be happy by being placed in the heavenly planet, become liberated, or becoming one with Brahman, the supreme effulgence. These benefits do not appeal to their mind. They are simply interested in giving direct service to the Lord. So this comes in many places. The devotee reject this any kind of being liberated or merging or this thing. Nahi magi swargar moksha nahi magi na kari prarthana kono vibhutirala. Nija karma guna doshe, je je janma paya, janme janme prabhu nama guna ga. So like the devotees are not interested in heavenly planet, liberation or merge with Brahman. They are simply interested in giving service to the Lord. Dehinam deha samyoga dvandva dvandya nishara leelaya sukham dukham mritir janma sapo anugraha evacha.
Because of the actions of the Supreme Lord's external energy, the living entities are conditioned in contact with material bodies. The dualities of happiness and distress, birth and death, curses and favors are natural byproducts of this contact in the material world.
Very similar to what Chitraketu Maharaj just said. She was also telling Parvati the same thing. That living entities are in metal bodies which are made of metal elements. So the dualities are natural byproduct of coming in this metal world. Dualities will be there. But the beauty is that as we continue to practice Krishna consciousness, our Krishna consciousness gets least affected by them. In the beginning, it gets too much affected. It depends on the situation. But as we become stable, then even in spite of these situations, mind may get distracted. We may not be able to chant very well, focus very well if something is happening at home or to our body or something. Nevertheless, that mood of blaming the situation, the mood of escaping the situation, that doesn't come. We just want to figure out how we can best serve the Lord in that situation, how we can best practice Krishna consciousness in that situation. That patience devotee should have, because situations will change. All of us will go through different situations, family members, relatives, our own bodies, our own services. These are all situations which will keep on varying. So our bhakti should not depend on them in terms of, these changes will keep on happening, either by our choice or either by somebody else's choice. Things keep on changing. So one should not get carried away by the duality. One should be fixed up. I am Krishna's servant. I have come here to ISKCON to serve Krishna and my Guru in different ways, whatever ways uh, is agreed upon. It's not my way, it's not their way. It's a combination of what is needed, what best I can do, how I can best serve. It's not a dictation, it's a discussion. So these all dualities are byproduct of the metal world. If we are in the metal world, these dualities will affect us in certain ways. But the more we become grown up, they will least affect our Krishna consciousness. We will be Krishna conscious in any situation of life. In Bhagavad Gita, you find Maya Dakshin Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. The metal world works under the guidance of direction of the goddess Durga. And she acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Sakti Reka Chaye Vayasya Vivanani Vivat Durga. Durga, the goddess Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, is extremely powerful. She can create, maintain, annihilate any number of universes by her sweet will. But she acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, not independently. Krishna is impartial, but because there is a material world of duality, such relative terms as happiness and distress, curses and favors are created by the will of the Supreme. Those who are not Narayan Para, pure devotees, must be disturbed by this duality of the material world, whereas devotees who are simply attached to the service of the Lord are not at all disturbed by it. And then it talks about Haridas Thakur was beaten up by 22 bajars, smilingly tolerated. Despite the disturbing dualities of the material world, devotees are not disturbed at all because they can fix their mind on the lotus feet of the Lord and concentrate on the holy name of the Lord. They do not feel the so-called pains and pleasures caused by the dualities of this material world. Time. Okay. अविवेककृत पुंसो हि अर्थभेद इवात्मनि गुणदोष विकल्पश्च भीदेव सजीवत्कृतः.
As one mistakenly considers a flower garland to be a snake or experiences happiness and distress in a dream, so in the material world, by a lack of careful consideration, we differentiate between happiness and distress, considering one good and the other bad.
Yeah. So like a dream, flower garland is taken to a snake, or happiness of being king or rich man, distress of failure. So material world also, without a lack of careful consideration, one can one can define happiness as good and distress as bad. But what is good, what is bad? We were discussing that. No? Good and bad. Somebody got late for the plane, then he says bad. The plane got crashed, he says good. These things happen. The happiness and distress of the material world are of duality, are both mistaken. Chaitanya Charitamrita said, Dvaite Bhadra Bhadra Jnana Sava Manodharma, Ei Bhala, Ei Manda, Ei Sava Brahma. The distinction between happiness and distress in the material world of duality are simply mental concoctions, for the so-called happiness and distress are actually one and the same. They are like the happiness and distress in a dream. A sleeping man creates his happiness and distress by dreaming, although actually they have no existence. Other example is that a flower garland is originally very nice, but by mistake or want of mature knowledge, one may consider it a snake. And then he quotes a Prabodhan Saraswati Maharaj, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Everyone in the material world is distressed by miserable condition, but Srila Prabodhan Saraswati says that this world is full of happiness. How? Yat karunya kataksh vibhavatam tatah gauram eva stumaha. A devotee accepts the distress of the material world as happiness only due to the causeless mercy of the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By his personal behavior, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that he was never distressed but always happy in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One should follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and engage constantly in chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Then you will never feel the distress of the world of duality. In any condition of life, one will be happy if one chants the holy name of the Lord. In dreams, we sometimes enjoy eating sweet rice, sometimes suffer as if one of our beloved members had died. Because the same mind and body exist in the same mental body of duality when we are awake. The so-called happiness and distress of this world are no better than the false, superficial happiness of dreams. The mind is the medium in both dreams and wakefulness. And everything created by the mind in terms of sankalpa and vikalpa, acceptance and rejection, is called manodharma or mental concoction. How many verses are remaining now? No, we will continue tomorrow. We'll just take a comment or question or whatever comes up from. We'll start from 31 tomorrow. Continue this and continue with the next chapter also. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. If some curses or some situation comes where person is not individually affected but collectively affected, so that time how one should do his thought process?
Within collection is individual, na? It's not a mass. आटे का गोला नहीं है ना कि पूरे आटे को कुछ हो गया या बर्फ जम गया, पानी है बर्फ जम गया पूरे का. अब कलेक्टिवली इफेक्ट हुए 10 लोग भी हुए तो वो भी उसमें से एक है ना, तो इंडिविजुअली कैन मेक हिज चॉइस, अदर्स विल मेक देयर चॉइस. Collectively also his individuality is not going anywhere, na? Within collection also is an individual. Collection also is an individual. The Mayavadis say the rivers merge into ocean and become one. Varacharya says, well, the river does merge in the ocean, but the living entities remain, na, in that. Even in that water, the living entities are individual, whether in the river or ocean. Fish, tortoise, anything. It's not that the water merges, so individuals also become non-existent. No. So yes, situation people may get affected collectively, but within collectiveness, everyone has an individual choice, no? To what degree one get affected, how one respond. जैसे ट्रेन में जाते हैं जर्नी प्रसाद देते हैं तो बोलते जर्नी प्रसाद है, वो जो लोग मायापुर जा रहे हैं उसमें 50 लोग जा रहे हैं तो खाते तो सब अलग अलग है ना, भाई कोई कुछ खाता है कोई कुछ छोड़ता है, मतलब अलग अलग है ना मेनू. तो कलेक्टिवली वी मैं इंडिकेट कलेक्टिवली, बट देयर नथिंग कॉल्ड कलेक्टिवली. एवरीथिंग इज इंडिविजुअल, पर्सनल, nothing collective here. Like we say na Golok, now there are Krishna 108 kind of cows, kind of 108 types of cows, not 108 cows, 108 types of cows. 25 are white, 25 are black, 25 are red, 25 are, I don't know which color they are. Black are there, red are there, white are there. And then the 8 kinds are there: Mridangamukhi, Simhamukhi, Tilakam, Tilaki, like that. But each category is individual cows. These are categories. But white cows, within white cows, each cow has an individual name, individual decoration, individual nature. So in life is all individual, nothing collective. Collective is just to represent a category, but the responses are always individual. Feelings are always individual. We are individual. In collectivity, the individuality does not go. So others will respond in whatever way they want. We should respond the way, the best we can, based on the value system we have, the consciousness we have. Okay. Last comment or question, whatever.
Question. This very interesting episode here. Like, my question is, it appears that he's clarifying Chitraketu after accepting humbly, with all respect and everything. While going, he is kind of saying, actually, I was not right. I was not at all wrong, but you felt it wrong. Okay, Haribol. So, means when to clarify? Like Rup Goswami was meditating, and then I don't know whether he clarified. He must have clarified later, maybe to that Vakra Muni or Shivas Thakur. We see he didn't clarify. He said, "This is what I do." Or other episodes we see, because misunderstandings do happen among devotees. Because as you said, very nice example of watch. That reality is not fully seen by everyone. To the degree he's advanced, he can see the full reality. Otherwise, it's a perspective. So when to clarify, when not to clarify, or this kind of clarification means, I don't know whether it displeased Parvati, or it's like I am not wrong only. It
My
seems like that he
understanding-
didn't admit any mistake or like.
Yeah, my understanding on this topic, although it may vary, different individuals may hold different opinions on that. I'm not the absolute authority on that. Is that if a person is not content, peaceful, happy, then one should find out the root cause of discontentment. It may be a relationship issue, it may be something somebody has said, something there, and then one should make a solution to that. So if a person feels content that, well, Lord knows everything from within the heart, he knows, like Shivas Thakur, nobody is going to believe. So he has that confidence, didn't feel it necessary to clarify. And Chitraketu Maharaj, he felt mother is very angry and upset. So he accepted the curse, he paid her obeisances, he said, you are not the cause. Right? And still, and he said also that, please forgive me for whatever you consider wrong. Whatever you consider wrong, that you forgive me for that. Although from my side, I have no bad intention for that. That's also okay. Because we were discussing that, I think you're there, not there, that spiritual life is totally variegated. One person will have variety. Mother Parvati, only in one sloka, only Prabhupada says, she was very angry, she was somewhat angry, and later she says he was compassionate. She is addressing Chitraketu as Putraka. So what she was she very angry, somewhat angry, or she was compassionate? Arjuna, we are giving the example. Prabhupada said he was compassionate, next verse he says he was a weak-hearted person. So what he was, compassionate or weak-hearted? So spiritual life is very dynamic. Human beings are very complicated psychological personalities. Different moods, different time with different people, they come out. So we learned the lesson that clarification is also one way. Nothing wrong with clarification. And acceptance also is one way. Nothing wrong with that either. Right? Like Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for the help of the Lord. Gajendra asked for the help of the Lord. There's a little different. Ultimately, Lord came. Lord didn't mind. Also, Gajendra Moksha Stuti is considered one of the purest prayers. So all this counted in the Arthi, but still is counted as a pure devotee later. So devotees have individuality, and that is why we have to learn the lesson and take inspiration and appreciate those who did whatever they did in that situation. And in our situation, how do we express our dependence on the Lord, surrender to the Lord? That will be very individual and personal. It will not be like copy of anything or anyone, because this jiva, what is there in this body and what in this body, this jiva is a unique jiva. No matter there are 10 crore gopis or manjaris in the assembly of Lalita Sakhi, still there's a 10 crore one. Totally individual. This is the beauty of the spiritual world. It's ultimate variegatedness. And we take a lot of time to accept this variegatedness, the variety. And of course, because of material consciousness, the variety becomes mixed with all material motives. But the spiritual world is so variegated, one cannot imagine. It's not just cow on Gopastami. I was preparing a lecture for Gopastami. Every cow has a favorite. Some cows like to wear necklace. Some cows like to get their horns plated with gold. Some cows like to wear the crown between the horns. Every cow has a personality. They have their choices. Not कि cow बोल दिया तो बस हो गया गौशाला. No, every cow has its personality. So you can imagine that every tree, every cow, every gopi has a unique personality, no matter how many are there. So because of that, our surrender to Krishna will be totally unique, based on inspiration of others. Now, Kadam Kanam Maharaj example I was giving, he did not take medicine. There may be somebody else who may take medicine and live in a Krishna consciousness. That's also okay. It's not a standard that one should not take medicine or one should take medicine. Gunagrahi Maharaj was there, he went through chemo, he took all the things what could have been taken to take care of curing. Ultimately, did not get cured, then he surrendered. But he took all. Kadam Kanam Maharaj, nahi chahiye. So, both are wonderful. What we should do, you should do what you feel convinced and you. In a spiritual life, our own feelings, emotions, and kind of inner satisfaction is a big indicator. It's a big indicator, especially as we start getting little bit purified and we are not so materially passionate and we are not aspiring for material gain or grossly at least, subtly, in a subtle way, puja la pratishtha will always haunt us, but at least at a gross level we are not aspiring मैं business बनाऊंगा पैसा कमाऊंगा गाड़ी खरीदूंगा ऐसा कुछ नहीं है क्या है साधु बन गए तो बन ही गए ना थोड़े ही कि हर दिन प्लान कर रहे हैं कि आश्रम के बाहर जाके कैसे एम्पायर बनाना है कोई नहीं कर रहा in our own ways we are trying to please Guru and Krishna. It's a different thing. It interferes with others and there are other ideas. So वो सब तो साथ में लेके चलना पड़ता है. You have to refine it. But at an individual level, at the end of the day, we always think that how I'm trying to please my Guru and Krishna. Nobody in this world will agree. It is a proper devotee, initiated devotee, that is not pleasing Guru and Krishna. It may be his own way, which we need to calibrate it. But individually, everyone feels that way, that I'm doing something. So like that, what we were discussing that whether our Chitraketu Maharaj clarified or not, either way is okay because the intention is to serve. He accepted it. The intention was to accept. After that, whether he clarifies, if it satisfies him, that at least from my side, let me clarify that I'll always feel that I never express myself. So let me clarify. And Srivas Thakur feels, I'm well understood. I don't need to even express myself. Krishna knows it. So what one feels is fine. But both are wonderful devotees. There's nothing wrong that. That's what I'm saying. It's not a stereotype. Mahaprabhu's devotees, Pundrik Vidyanidhi, why he was what he was. And Mahaprabhu says, Pundrik my Bap, Pundrik my Bap. Mahaprabhu Bhaktagan, Vairagya Pradhan. Huh? Where is Vairagya and Pundrik Vidyanidhi's life? I mean, apparently. So, in Bhakti, the internals are absolutely vital. But then externals also should be as per whatever situation, circumstances, role we have. They also have a role in that. So there has to be a balance between internally we should always be pure and good. Externally, our roles vary, our situations vary. So in that situation, we have to figure out what best we can do. If somebody is authority, he can't be Avaduta. Avaduta can be there. Somebody is out of the order. Somebody is acting as a role. He is given a role. Then he can't say Avaduta. Avaduta to ye mat karo, wo karo. You can't have sometimes. Both are good, but you can't have two things together. Like Chach is good. Chach is good and sweet rice is good. Both are good. Both are nourishing. Both have their own. You can't have together. That's the point. Both are good in their own regard, but you can't have together. They don't get digested together. So like that, there are different devotees. And which one to say, it is not one way. We will have to see in our situation, which way we want to surrender. Both are surrendered. Both are committed to the Lord. And Lord accepts that variety. Lord loves that variety. It's the beauty of the Lord, that Lord loves everyone's variety. Lord is not saying, "Yeah, मेरे को ना एक ही item चाहिए खाने को हर दिन." नहीं है, उनको सब चाहिए. That is रसो वही सह. He wants that special mellow, special relationship with every singular living entity in the entire creation. If he's not there, the Lord is missing that one what rasa we give to the Lord. That Lord is missing. Whatever we are, good, bad, but we have a unique rasa for which Lord has created us. Maybe there are billions of unlimited living entities. Still Lord misses us because that specific rasa which Lord has only and only with us, not with everyone else. And that's our solace. We don't need to compete and fight with anyone because we have our own space with the Lord. Krishna expands dozens of times in a day. It's not that Krishna explained only in Brahma Viman Leela or Dwarka. वो expansion and contraction चलता ही रहता है. Every Gopa decorates the Lord and sees the Lord in that situation all the time till the time they're herding the cows. Whatever decoration he has done. हर पुजारी का अपना अपना deity है. कोई मुकुट लगाता है, कोई पगड़ी बांधता है, कोई फूल पत्ते ज़्यादा लगाता है, कोई turban piece ज़्यादा लगाता है. Everyone. So that is the rasa Lord has. So knowing that, we should know the principle, appreciate the principle, and see that which category I fit in, whether I should clarify or I should just accept it. Whatever one feels fine. One can consult one superior. This is what I'm thinking is all right. Because sometimes there may be a official way of doing something better. Sometimes we may be ready to tolerate, but then others may say you should give a statement so that you're not misunderstood and your service is not affected. Then you may do that. As far as we are in the material world, even otherwise also, decision maybe one way or other way, but consulting is always considered the best. It makes the matter perfect, actual purposes. No decision, no matter how much important, it should always be done in consultation. It's a very important one, not like smaller ones. That makes the matter perfect. So we have to follow our own heart, but it's not an independent track. It's a wide track. It's a road. When we say follow in the footsteps, or follows like we say Maharaj ki car jariye follow gaye. You can't follow the track exactly, but you're following the same road. Unka car thoda idhar ja raha, aapka idhar ja raha, but road wahi hai. So that's how I understand it to be, that Bhakti is so unique that as we grow, our surrender to Lord will come out in a very, very unique way. And that's Lord accepted. We don't have ulterior motive, ill intention. We have the right desire to serve. We are submissive to hear from our superiors. We're ready to serve the Vaishnava. These are the qualities one has. It is fine. Somebody may say, like Bhagavatam class, everyone gives in his own way. DT dressing, everyone does in his own unique way. That's how Krishna inspired them. That's fine. So, we exceeded the time. We end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, God Bhakti. Tomorrow, 10:45 a.m. we'll meet and see how much we can cover.